caution. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the sheets. We came for war, man, forget my peace. We take the west side, take on the east. I'ma put him in the cage, never let out the. I hear him chat to the noise, move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys, not so tough, but mans keep walking, yeah. Just too sharp with the prize, right girls, let her tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan, if you wanna touch me, please use caution. Stop that, stop that, stop that.
What is the best of the soups?
French onion.
French onion's a great nominee. I would think it a first ballot Hall of Famer, and it would be in any conversation on the soups. But we started with lobster bisque, and we started with clam chowder.
French onion is not a standalone soup.
Love where you're going with this.
No one, I think French onion, it comes along with a sandwich.
Makes me work too hard.
Yeah, give
onion.
me French onion, and I need something else. A clam chowder, though? A lobster bisque? That's a meal.
You're having a standalone soup as a meal ever? I don't think there's any soup that makes it as a whole meal. A soup's always a starter.
I don't like when a soup, I have to get my other hand involved. And that, you always have to break the cheese up and stuff. It's a difficult eat. I like the taste of it, but just overall, too much work for me.
I think it depends on the circumstances. I agree with you. Most of the time, it is a starter, but something about the creaminess of a bisque or a chowder feels more substantial. I feel like there's a different category. Like chicken noodle soup? Chicken noodle soup's a meal.
Well, I want to see. No, it's not a meal.
Yes,
I'm willing to grant you.
When you have a cold.
It's not an entire meal. I'm willing to grant you, though, that this can be an entire meal, but it's based on thickness. Correct? There are three soups, and it's got to be thick, and the bready stuff and the French onion is what's making it qualify. Are we all in on the fact who's getting into the rankings if our gold, silver, and bronze medalists are clam chowder, lobster bisque, and French onion on the high-end thick soups, decadent soups that pass for a meal? Is there anything else? Is there a fourth option?
I feel like I think what comes to mind is a soup that I would like to be kicked out of the soup family. Gazpacho.
Yeah. Can't have a cold soup.
Nah. I know you call it a soup. I get it. But I don't know. That's cereal. I don't know what it is. It's cold.
Tomato soup, but the cold kind?
Yeah, the cold kind. But it feels thick, but I don't want it.
All right, I'm going to allow it as a poll question at Le Batard Show. Should gazpacho be kicked out of the soup family? But I was not aware. Does it qualify indeed as a soup? Because I think soups have to be warm. You cannot be a soup if you are not warm, by definition, in my mind.
Yeah, it does qualify.
We can put it on the poll, but I do believe that people consider gazpacho a soup.
I love how Roy's like, it does qualify, unfortunately.
Well, it is unfortunate.
It is very much unfortunate.
It is unfortunate because I put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Does a soup have to be warm? And then put on the poll as well, is gazpacho a goddamn soup? Because I'm saying it's not. I'm saying you can't be cold in a soup, and he's right when he wants to kick it out of the soup family. I'm saying it shouldn't even be in the soup family. Why is it in the soup family? Zaslow seems happy. That's the best the Panthers can play, right? They cannot play better than that. Just suffocate, strangle Draisaitl and McDavid, and make my analysis hours earlier seem spectacularly loud wrong when I said with great conviction, we all know, right, that Edmonton is the one that can win a 6-1 game, not Florida.
Well, it is the best they can play, but it's also the worst that the Oilers can play. They were terrible. Absolutely terrible.
I thought it was a wacky game. I don't even know if I would call that the best the Panthers could play. So many power plays. The third period was just chaos. The second period was the only period that actually felt like a hockey game. That first period, Evander Kane, Roy, what is he doing? What a loser.
I mean, he's out there trying to hurt people. It's not like his performance in game one where his physicality made a difference. He was out there swinging his stick trying to hit people.
I feel like 80% of that third period, that happens to every team. When there's a blowout in a playoff game, it's going to get chippy. 20% of that was over the line, Roy. Are we going to look at any suspensions here?
No. There might be a fine for Walman's spraying of the water bottle across the bench.
What a loser move.
So wait, Ed, there was 1,000 fights, 800 late hits, and we're finding the guy who squirted the water bottle 3 feet to the other side and missed it.
He went across the line.
Yeah, can't do that.
Well, you with the made-up stat 20%. Like, where are you coming up with? If that had happened during a basketball game, the news coverage for a month would have been how out of control the NBA is. If simply some of those fights.
But I'm telling you, when you get a game that gets to be 4-1, 5-1 in the playoffs, a lot of what you saw last night is going to happen with any two teams. Like,
Chris,
you are going to get a team that is just needing what, Dominique?
You called it chippy. Like, that wasn't chippy. Unless you're talking about people chipping teeth. It wasn't chippy. Like, they were actually, there was blood, there was tongues out, there were fists being thrown. It wasn't chippy.
I swear that wasn't that uncommon in a blowout playoff game.
Okay,
I think you're wrong.
You got to be specific. A blowout playoff hockey game. Like, that is out of control.
There were a few
any other major sport.
Like the way Frederick went after Bennett, that was over the line. There were a few there were 3 or 4 things where I'm like, they should take a look at that. But outside of that, it was just blowout chippiness. I just want you to be
clear that it's hockey. Because, like, if this happened in soccer, if one punch was thrown in the MLS or in the NFL or in NBA, like, we can't call it chippy. Like, it feels like you are appreciating how violent that hockey match was, or a hockey game was, because that's not chippy.
This description of his is because what's been normalized is the barbaric savagery that is that sport this time of year. So Chris Cody feels comfortable, Cheeto crumbs on his hand, saying they should take a look at that when someone's hitting someone else with a stick.
Yeah. I mean, Kachuk got speared.
and Chris is like, sure is chippy. Can someone take a look at that? That looked chippy.
Yeah, and they aren't. I just asked Roy. He's like, maybe there'll be a fine. They aren't even going to take a look at it.
I was complaining about the walk-in because I'm not tough enough to walk in from the parking lot. Take a look at that. It looks chippy down there. No, they hate each other. They're fighting for the cup, and hockey allows these people to be more primitive than any athletes roaming the earth and gives them blades on their feet.
Dan, how does anyone with a straight face. I mean, look, Dominique, you play in the NFL. How does anyone with a straight face watch what happened last night and then still try and say the Stanley Cup is not the hardest trophy to win in sports?
Well, what happened last night, it was a 6-1 blowout. So you're trying to argue to me that it's the hardest thing to win just because it's really chippy?
But like Matthew Tkachuk is saying after the game yesterday, we talked about this in the third period, you know, if you got to take a punch in the face, do whatever you got to do. There's a bigger picture here.
I mean, we're saying this after, I hope we get into this at some point, but Frank Ragnow fractured his throat.
That's right.
So you get out of here with that. Yes. I generally hate the people that, like, fall in love with their sport so much that they try to, like, argue that other people's sports are worse. Like, I'm not trying to say, like, football is so much better because I played football. Like, the people who say, this is our game, we got to protect our game. Like, I'm not that guy. I don't own any of this stuff. However, what I will not stand for is someone trying to tell me that there is something out there that is more dangerous. I'll give you equally, but there's nothing more dangerous. He is 300 pounds and someone fractured his throat.
Yeah, that USA Today story on how it is that Armstead retires early in football. Dominique allowed us to get away with this yesterday. He hadn't been here in a while, and so he allowed us to get away with saying that's the toughest trophy to win yesterday. Today, he's not having it.
Fractured his throat, and he never even played in the Super Bowl. Armstead tore up his knee in his third year and said he never practiced again because he couldn't move his leg without painkillers. He only took painkillers on game day, and he played for, 13 years? Yeah. Fractured?
Yeah, his throat.
Fractured?
Yeah, his throat.
His throat.
Hey, yo.
I didn't know.
Thank you, Tony.
Did you know
I wanted
that,
to be respectful.
Did you know did you know that was a thing at Le Batard Show? Did you know you could fracture your throat? Because the most painful injury I had ever heard in sports before was a Mariners catcher on a foul tip who fractured his testicle. Ooh. I did not know a testicle could be fractured.
Worst thing to fracture.
I think it just ruptures, Dan. I don't think you can fracture it. I think it explodes on contact.
I understand. That's
oh, God.
Sort of what I thought as well. But no, you can indeed fracture a testicle.
Let's put it on the poll, I think.
Exploded worse or fractured worse?
I mean, honestly, this may come as a surprise to you guys, but whether it's exploded or fractured, I'd rather that down there than fracture my throat. I got 3 kids. I'm done. You can have one of them.
Yeah, but what if you had 0?
Not the kids, the testicles.
Put it on the poll. What's worse, fractured throat or fractured testicle? Because think about that one for a second. I think instantaneously you might go testicle, and then like you think about eating and breathing and stuff, and fractured throat seems terrible.
Yeah, I think if you fractured your throat, you'd be afraid that you're going to die. If you fracture your testicle, I feel like, oh, this really hurts, but I'm not going to die.
I mean, do you want to live, though?
Do I want to try it? I don't know.
Dominique, so you're objecting officially to the idea, it's not consensus for you, that this is the hardest trophy to win in sports?
I mean, I don't care what is the hardest. I don't think it's the hardest. Like, we can go through a bunch of different sports and different things test you in different ways. However, I thought last night's game was incredibly fun and funny. And yeah, those guys, I'm not going to say hockey players aren't tough. They're tough as hell. But what I won't have happen is you guys try to subjugate other athletes and say, you know what? Like,
No one's saying football players aren't tough, though.
oh, no. I don't need your validation.
Okay, good.
I'll
I don't
subjugate
need it.
them.
Oh, he will over there. Take a look at that. You guys might want, it's getting chippy
Look,
down there.
Marshawn agreed with me. They talked to him after the game. He's like, look, in a blowout game, that third period, a lot of that stuff is gonna a lot of that stuff is gonna happen in a third period of a blowout playoff game.
I don't agree for a couple reasons. Number one, we didn't see that last year, and we went 7 games, all right? And it's the same team. And number two, how many times, and you could talk about this in the regular season too, are you getting a line fight? Not a line scrum. We had a line fight.
Nurse and Gadjo fought for like 4 minutes.
Well, Chippy down there. They should take a look at that. Imagine a 4-minute fight in the NBA. Imagine just 4 minutes of fighting in the NBA. What we'd be doing in the coverage of that today.
Wouldn't it be great if the Pacers get blown out tomorrow night and with like 3 minutes left of the game, all 5 guys, they all square off at different points of the court and they just fight?
Because it happened with Bennett, that altercation. So then what happens in those things is like everyone kind of just gets somebody. It's like, I'm going to grab somebody. And Nurse ended up with Gadjovic, and Nurse is like, I want no part of this. So he just, for 4 minutes, was just like trying to. I honestly felt bad for Nurse about 3 minutes into that. I'm like, just stop this already.
Was the entire fight time of the Malice in the Palace equal to 4 minutes? Or no?
It echoed for decades because Steven Jackson looked like that for 3 seconds.
3 seconds.
For 3 seconds, he looked like that. Never mind 3 and 4 minutes of fighting. It spilled into the stands, and the National Guard was called in.
Can you imagine if the hockey fights spilled into the stands?
That's happened a few times, but what we saw last night, I don't want to wander too far away in the noise and the fireworks and the silliness from, the Panthers put it on Edmonton. Edmonton did play poorly, but that was also done to them. McDavid and Draisaitl don't look like that very often. Draisaitl actually looked like that an awful lot last postseason, which I think in retrospect we could say that he was hurt. But that was strangled out of Edmonton last night, and it was done a minute into the game. A minute into the game, the announcement is you're going to be trailing all night. You're going to be chasing this all night. And they can. Edmonton is good enough offensively, but when their power play does nothing, doesn't even produce reasonable chances, and then it turns into an all-out fight, and the Panthers are the only ones scoring, you get the best game the Panthers can play. They can't play better than that. Doing that to this team, both offensively and defensively in that game, there is no better game that the Panthers have played the last 3 seasons than that one.
Yeah, they have 2 games left to win, but honestly, it's looking like either Sam Bennett or Brad Marchand. It's going to
let's cool it on the Conn Smythe talk. Again, 2 more games. Come on, 2 more games.
You got to look at how Sam Bennett is. He's leading the league right now.
I get it, but 2 more games.
You know what? Thank you, Zaz, because Roy, I saw this happen this morning, and it made me sad. Look, Dominique knows what I'm talking about.
What's going on there, Chuckles?
Dominique comes in here today, and he sees Roy, and he says to Roy, heartfelt and joyous, congratulations.
It's not over. He got mad at me. He looked me in the eye and said, "It's not over."
Right, so I'm surprised that now he's trying to count Conn Smythe votes.
Nah, he's a media member. He's preparing. He has to think about all this stuff heading up to making these decisions.
He's mad Dworky has a vote and he doesn't.
Yeah, I am.
Is that true?
Well, it's my first year in the Professional Hockey Writers Association, and I got one vote this year, and that's
what?
for Masterton.
Which one is that?
That's the
I know
dedication to
that is.
hockey.
I didn't even know what that meant.
Tell Dominique what that is.
That's dedication to
Doesn't
hockey.
sound like a big one.
I don't understand. All of us were like, you were very proud of that vote, and all of us are like, that's a nice vote. What vote is that?
It's dedication to hockey.
So how do you assess who's the most dedicated?
Well, it's not really a person who comes back from injury, you know, like somebody who's retiring, like a Pat Maroon.
Who'd you vote for?
I love Roy, like at the
Marc-Andre
arena,
Fleury.
seeing who gets there early. Lundell here early, good. Like keeping notes. It's like
It wasn't. I didn't vote for him.
I don't like how he's disrespecting your vote back there.
I'm more disrespecting the award, like the dedication award.
Take a look at that over
They
there.
should take a look at that.
Why should they take a look at it, Chris?
Because there was we broke them mentally late in that game. As much as I'm saying a lot of that was expected, a lot of it wasn't. It was ridiculous.
And to be fair,
my daughter was there. I was sitting next to my daughter.
Oh,
shielding her eyes.
Oh, because your daughter was there. Oh my gosh, we
was
shouldn't have a
shielding
line
her
brawl
eyes.
because your daughter's there.
I was shielding her eyes from that.
Daughter? My daughter was there?
It made me like, huh. She's like, Daddy, why are they doing that? I'm like, because we've broken them mentally. That's why we're doing that, Graceland.
All right. Are you as uncomfortable as I am with him saying we've broken them mentally?
We, huh?
I was disgusted. And I mean, to be clear, what really hurt me about me congratulating Roy and Roy's response was I was congratulating Roy on the successful BET Awards last night, and Roy was like, "We're not done yet. It is done. Kendrick got all the awards, Roy. Congratulations to you and me. We did it.
Yeah, we did do it. We did it.
We did do it.
The second America did it.
I think Zaslow could say we.
I feel like I could say
he's
we.
the only one who can.
About the BET Awards?
Actually, Chris can say we.
That's
No.
right.
Chris
no,
can't
yeah.
say
Have
we.
you seen? You haven't seen the reports.
He's a season ticket holder, so maybe he can.
Gingers.
That they did say that.
He could say we.
I'm gonna go ahead and stand up and say, nah.
What?
Nah. I revoked it. I don't know who started this.
Science. How about that?
I don't know who started it. Revoked. I also need to have a conversation because I've been skipping a lot of meetings. I haven't been participating in votes.
I've been there.
We let Jimmy Swims in or Teddy Swims? The Swims?
Teddy swims.
Oh, we let him in?
You let a couple guys in.
He was getting nominated for stuff. I thought we learned our lesson with Justin Timberlake. What are we doing? It takes more than a banger to get let in. I would like to register my disappointment. I don't know about Teddy Swims getting nominated. I don't know much about Teddy Swims. I got to be honest, because I called him Jimmy. But also, I don't know about this.
That's a fine, calling him Jimmy. Zaslow, the reason he gets credit and can say we is because he ended a family vacation early because his team needed him.
By a show of hands, anyone else end their vacation early for the Panthers? Anyone else end their vacation early because their team needed them? Anyone? Bueller?
Zaslow can say we.
Bueller reference.
I have heard in my ear set, by the way, I've been told that gazpacho is a cold soup only in summer and only in Spain. So it's a regional soup.
You ever been to Spain in the summer, Dan?
Where it's allowed. I have been, Tony. Swampy.
Sun.
Yes, it's very.
Europe in summer. What the are we doing?
That's
Sun.
right. That's right. That is correct, Tony. Yes, sun is the
No,
correct.
it's the sun.
It's very hot. Yes.
Not sun. It's
Yes.
the sun.
Venice smells bad. It's so hot. Yes. 20%, huh, Chris? 20% over norm for you last night on fights. 4-minute
All right,
fights.
maybe 30%.
Oh.
Maybe
Oh,
30.
wow.
There's never fights in the playoffs. They had a line fight last night, and Chris is trying to tell me, Chippy, happens.
Outside of that line fight, you do see in a blowout,
It's kind of a big thing, though.
like extra like cross checks.
Chris,
Like this does happen.
This what?
Like I think a lot of people, like Dominique, swooping in for hockey playoffs last night was probably like, holy. Where really it was like outside of that line fight, which is ridiculous. Yes,
Because I'm parachuting in, what I do know about hockey is that the first hockey games were played with frozen cow poop, and their fights.
Yeah.
So like that's only because it's the one thing, I guess, also being on. No, there are lots of other sports on ice. It's the only sport other than combat sports where combat is acceptable. So yes, I'm watching hockey last night, and for me, you're like, oh my gosh. I'm like, oh yeah, they out there hockeying.
Well, but this coverage by Chris is bad in that Kane had more penalty minutes in that game than he had in his previous 17 playoff games combined.
I know Kane.
What am I saying?
He was a dirty player last night. That's not normal. That kind of fight is not normal. You do not risk the ramifications. Look, we just got done with Brindamore telling his team the entire series, do not retaliate on the Panthers. It's stupid. It's how they beat you. Do not get emotional with them. It does not work. So that Brindamore has lost to them consecutively, and he was pleading with his team. Do not react. Do not retaliate. The Panthers do this. It's a style. It's a champion style. They don't care if you do not like them. They're annoying. They bother other teams. They bother other fan bases. They're dirty. They play on the line. They've got players who are unlikable, league-wide reputations as unlikable.
Who wouldn't like them?
And Marchand is sitting there while they're unraveling last night, pointing to his head and their bench, saying, there it is again. We're in there again. We beat you last year, and we're in there again.
Nico Mikkola pointed and laughed at Corey Perry. Pointed and laughed. What a loser.
Jonah Gadjevich over here skating with his tongue out like, ah.
Roy.
Yes?
What is your assessment? You're saying that Edmonton can't play that poorly. I'm saying that that's the best that the Panthers can play. You're also joyless and miserable when he says to you, congratulations, and your response is, it's not over yet.
It's not. They got 2 wins left.
You can't fool me. These guys, they don't know you like I know you. You have taken all your joy and you put it on your head. Today you were like, nah, I can't be happy, but I'm happy. And so subconsciously, when you walked to your closet today in your normal all black
It's a
attire,
happy hat.
you got the happiest hat
It's loud.
that you could find. So I'm happy for you, Roy. I'm sorry to put you out there, but I know that you're happy, even though that you tried to act like you're too tough.
I've got Roy's all his hats like in order of like from like the saddest hat to the brightest, and he just like, we're going over here today.
The only time you were happier was when that, what was it, 18 seconds goal was made and the Panthers were tied and going into overtime. That was the happiest you've been. That's the only time you were happy.
There's the smirk.
Again, I was in pain. It was a grimace.
Nope, not a grimace. A smile.
Again, let's focus on Rose, please, instead of Roy, because the Panthers very recently, and this is why this show's annoying, this is why this time of year, the last couple of years, the fan base aggressively turns on us, but also watches more hockey than they used to watch, and is a member of a very small group of people now rooting for the Panthers, because I do not believe that that is happening throughout the country. Now, every team says that every time, right? It's us against the world. Can you guys tell me a region, a country, a place? It's maybe Barkov's, maybe
Finland?
He's so big that there is a place that has embraced the Panthers.
I think Calgary's rooting for the Panthers.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Just from hate. Well, that's hate watching Edmonton.
They love Kachuk and they hate Edmonton.
But that's hate. But that's okay. That's rooting for the Panthers, but it's rooting for someone else to suffer. It's not even the same thing. I'm asking you, where are the people that Kachuk is not? They're not going to be allowed to be lovable underdogs. They're not even going to be allowed to be underdogs. Where are the people rooting for them?
No.
I don't know if people are rooting for them, but I do think they've gone above this like small market team. Like I think they've gotten the respect. Like hockey, you listen to other hockey podcasts, and it's not get these Panthers out of my life. It's more in awe of holy shit. This team is just, their goalie's great. Their defense, they can play any style. It's more just, you hear this respect for this team of like, I can't believe this team has built this crazy successful unit.
Which is hateable.
Right, but you don't.
So I
don't know
get
if
what
we've
you're
gotten
saying.
there yet.
No, I'm saying that I understand that there was a segment of hockey culture that's like, this Florida team, we hate them, they're from Florida, this isn't hockey. But now it's like, they're beating our golden boy, the one that's supposed to give us the right to say that we watched the greatest hockey player since Gretzky. You can't say it until he wins one. He's standing in the way. And every story, every hero's journey story that we've ever watched or read has been about one singular special person overcoming some evil demons around them. And you guys are the evil demons. I hate to tell you this. You're the zombies in the zombie movie. You are not Indiana Jones. It's not who. You're not Han Solo. I don't know what else.
Harrison Ford thing? Yeah,
There you go. I mean, I can't do anything modern. I'm old. What do you want me to do?
Those are some old references. This show has now gotten annoying, and here's Zaslow's face. This is Panther fandom right here, and it's bloated, and it's arrogant, and it's telling you after that game.
That's not bloated.
He looks thin.
Handsome.
With a sausage finger, a bratwurst in his left hand, he's pointing at you, and he's saying, that's how you play hockey. Look, we teach it down here in the Everglades. Edmonton, that's how you play hockey. It takes 7 months to get to the arena, and that's after you've parked in the parking lot. The walk is through the Everglades. It requires an airboat. That's where the Stanley Cup resides. You cannot take it from them because that's how you play hockey.
I need that picture back, man. We can't just let that sit up
You
there.
want to wallet size that?
No, I wallet size. I want a poster size of Humpty Dumpty's grandpa. I would love to have that photo. Oh,
Look at that.
How is the top bigger than the bottom?
Yes,
I'm shocked.
it is great.
Why is your chin up there?
Yes.
Confused.
Yes.
Beluga-esque.
Yes. Yes.
You whale face ass.
It is. You could put a narwhal horn on his forehead, and you would create the most impressive animal Dominique has ever been in awe of.
But we all learned one thing, though, last night. That's how you play hockey.
Yeah, that's how you play hockey.
You do got a hockey fight ass head. Like that look like that thing could take a butt.
Beluga-esque is a great line.
The Panthers went up 5-1 last night after Aaron Ekblad scored. I get up off the couch in the Zaslow Mansion family room. I'm cheering. My 13-year-old looks at me and goes, sit down. They're up 5-1.
Yeah, I mean, your head does look like 5-1. I love it.
The biggest goal last night was Reinhart, right? Like we're up 2-0. They get a goal early in that second period, and you're like, oh, we're back. Our feel good is gone. And then Reinhart responds immediately with a goal.
Obviously huge, but did Sam Bennett have the greatest shift in the history of Panther hockey?
He absolutely did. Two hits.
2 monster hits. And on the same shift, how about this? It's about to be a 2-on-none breakaway, but we're so confident in Sam Bennett that Eetu Loisterinen passes the puck to Bennett and says, F it, you don't need me. And Bennett scores on the breakaway.
That's Lusty in a nutshell right there. Unselfish.
Good play at the blue line, too. He was the one that broke up that pass, leading to the 2-0.
What size is your hat?
I mean, I get fitted hats,
It's
so
a flex
I don't
cap.
know.
It's a cop.
I
Yeah.
know.
But he's right.
It's stretchy? Got some
stretchy.
Yeah, a little
spandex
bit,
in that
a
thing?
little bit.
You got a Lululemon
it's
hat.
a little bit.
Yeah, flex cap.
A little bit.
Dominique, I would like for you to stay generally with wherever your imagination and your curiosities take you on the discovery that Zaslow's head and surface area on his forehead is larger than we imagined because he's been hiding it for many years under a baseball cap. And now that it's been unveiled to point a finger at you and say that's how you play hockey, I love that as the face of South Florida sports telling Canada, this is what happens to your golden boy when you get Chippy and make Chris rain down from the arena. They should take a look at that.
30%.
Oh, man. Can we get that picture up again, man? I can't get enough of that picture. That picture is yelling at me. If you don't like it, you can leave.
Yes. Yes.
Right?
That
picture.
That's America.
It said America.
Yes.
And you said where my imagination takes me. I want to go where Zaz's imagination takes me. I feel like that imagination can take me around the world 4 times.
I'm with you on this. Now that I look at this, that's how you play hockey. And it's also exactly how you react by sending 2,000 National Guardsmen to California in order to protest immigration stuff.
That picture says love it or leave it, ass.
Yes. Yes. This country should be whiter.
That picture says you get these guns out of my cold, dead hands.
That wins. That's going to be a champion right there. It might cost us democracy.
2 more games.
But that That is something that if I were bringing it through central casting and telling people what's American arrogance right now, that's what it looks like.
I would definitely cast him as the one yelling something from the crowd. You're in a show and someone yells something offensive from the back. That guy.
This is a long way from yesterday when Rose was the reaction that we were loving, which is Rose's face horrified from any angle and every angle because she was so scared 17 seconds from winning game 2. That is, I mean, we can all agree, right? This is sheer terror.
I was right there with her.
And it wasn't but a few periods ago that's what it all felt like.
That's a shock telenovela face right there.
That is something that sports does that nothing else does. You care so much that you go and say, from there, I'm terrified, and from Chris Cody's perch, they should take a look at that. That violence down there that's making tough men bleed, that's normal playoff hockey.
I've got a dirty secret to say. I know Rose. Okay, I know Rose very well. Yes, she's a big Panthers fan, but you know what she loves even more than the Panthers?
Going home.
Going home early. So what she saw there was not only, oh no, the Panthers, they tied it up against the Oilers. The Oilers tied it up against the Panthers. Oh no, I've got 20 minutes of an intermission. I've got another 20 minutes of overtime. And then when that overtime stopped, I got another 20 minutes of overtime. And then another 20 minutes. And then they got to score. Ended up being another 2 hours for poor Rose, who just wants to go home. Because she only asked 11 times, when is this over?
Okay.
And that was on Saturday during the MMA hangout. And I told her, babe, you know exactly what it is. We got 1 o'clock in the morning. That's it.
You're still using babe, huh?
Yeah. That kind of thing.
I am concerned that you are accusing Rose of wanting game and not caring about the results and just wanting games to be over so that she can stop working. And Stugotz's last engagement on hockey was him not wanting it to go double overtime because he wanted to go to sleep. And I'm thinking this is not how Zaslow's experiencing any of this. I know it's not how Roy's experiencing it, but Zaslow, do you end up having trouble getting to sleep last night? Because I would imagine after game 1 you would have
game 1 was bad.
No,
yeah.
but I would imagine after game 1 you would not sleep very well,
correct.
and then after game 2 you wouldn't sleep very well either because you're wired.
Well, I didn't go to sleep right away after game 2. It's Friday night, so you get loose. You know my style. Come on. Game 1, I had a hard time falling asleep. Game 2, let's keep the party rolling, guys.
And
what
then,
a night.
Then that one last night you get to relax.
Woo! Last night.
Last night's one of those ones you just go home, digest all the post-game interviews.
Top night of my life.
Go ahead, Paul Maurice. Tell me how you liked 4 minutes in our second period. No matter how well we play, he's like, I really liked 3 minutes in our second period.
Oh, man. I want to show Dominique, please, our good AI work on making Zaslow a narwhal, the most impressive of all of the creatures. Dominique has spoken very highly of the narwhal being ahead of
Was that 3D?
of the octopus. Yes, our crack staff got to work immediately. I asked them to make a narwhal, and they did some aluminum foil party hat in the center of Zaslow's forehead.
I think I'm watching Muppets 3D right now.
Were the rest of you, though, taken aback as I was by the surface area that Dominique noticed at the time that he noticed it on the Zaslow forehead?
I believe that if you concentrate hard enough, you could tell us who's going to win this series. Just like I think
Professor X?
I think he got it. I think Cerebro over there, my Cerebro. Just put both hands like this and go. Touch your temples and squeeze. I think you can tell us who's going to win.
So, Chris Cody, you think it's normal for Matthew Tkachuk to be saying, we talked about it in the third, if you have to take a punch, take a punch. If you have to take a cross-check, take a cross-check, spear, slash in the face, whatever the case is, you've got to take it.
Yes. Like, if you listen to their post-game, like, a lot of the players were saying what I'm saying right now. That
I think
it got chippy. They needed to realize that this is a long series. Let's not do anything that's going to get us suspended. You have to defend your teammates. That's what that was.
So I think that in that world, maybe that's normal.
It's normalized violence, yes.
Right? But I think that what you're saying to us is as if we are in that world. We all recognize we're not in that world. and you are telling us like, no, it's normal.
And it went beyond. Like, I'm not saying last night wasn't more than I would have expected, but I just think a lot of what we saw last night is just when a team is broken, down 2-1, they need to, if we're going to come back in this series, we got to show them that we're in this too. So they're just going to get aggressive. And we broke them mentally. Like,
yeah, but that's not what it felt like to me last night. Like, it didn't feel like the Oilers are saying, okay, we're going to show you we're still here. Like, to me, that it felt like a team was melting down.
That's true. It did.
All right.
There were a few times where I'm just like, we have broken them.
I'm not comfortable with how often you're saying that we broke them mentally.
We know only one person gets to say that in here. It's me.
There were 110 penalty minutes between the two teams in the final 9.5 minutes of the game. That's not normal, obviously. The more important thing I would say to you is it's the 13th playoff game in which McDavid and Draisaitl, neither one of them scores a point. And when that happens to the Oilers, they are 2-11. They are not a championship team. They are a bad team. If those two guys have the game they had last night, they lose 11 out of 13 times because that team relies. Roy's analysis, simplistic though it was before the series, is yes, they have the two best players, and the Panthers have the best team. The Panthers have 4 lines. The Panthers can get nothing from their first line in the first 2 games, and it doesn't even matter. It's an unusually deep team, and it flogs you, and you're supposed to get tired in the third. But through the first 2 games of this series, Edmonton was in a position that made it feel to all of Edmonton that there was no reason to fear anything here. And now the fear is here. It must be here. If you're Edmonton, you've seen that this can be done to your wonder kid.
Yeah, they definitely targeted Connor McDavid. They hit him 5 times, especially Aaron Ekblad, so they really put it to him.
Love that.
They listened to me. Remember I was saying, like, get in his way when he's going down.
Cut him off. It wasn't getting it. It's cut him off.
Ah, someone hit him.
Get your lines right.
That's what it was.
Not getting his way.
Hit him. Stop him. And they
Take
did
a look at that.
They listened.
Love that fear. Feel it in my plumes.
Wonderkin?
They're going to be great on Thursday, by the way.
For sure, Kind.
Yeah, okay, just checking.
The Oilers will be great on Thursday. Thursday will be scary. And if we win, obviously we're in a good spot. But this is not over. Like, Thursday is going to be Connor McDavid at his scariest.
Of course it's not over. We've got that. We know
Well,
that.
what? Now, first I say we. Now I'm showing
Yes.
perspective.
Okay.
What do you want me to do here?
Yes, the silence was everywhere. The silence.
This episode is This episode is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Nice rebound, Wah. Roy Wood Jr., I admire his hustle. I admire his humor. I admire his ambition most of all. He is now writing a book. He's written a book, and it's a great Father's Day gift, although I think you're going to have to put like a coupon in a card and pre-order it because I don't know if you can physically get it in your hands in the next week. But he's got a new book he's written, The Man of Many Fathers. Roy, it's good to see you. Thank you for making the time. I did not think you had the time to be writing a book.
That's why it took 2 years to write, Dan. I did not know that a book would take that long. I thought it would be something quick and easy. I thought I would do it like other comedians, Dan, and just make a book full of jokes that I never performed on TV and trick y'all asses into giving me $30. But as I started writing, I figured, well, you know what? Let me give a damn and actually tell some stories about men in my life that actually made a difference. You know, it's a story it's a book I want to inspire you, but also let you know you're not alone in having worked with somebody who was high on cocaine and they were better than you at the job.
I'm sorry for laughing, Roy. So, Roy, I know a lot about Roy's story. It's incredibly touching and interesting, and he's masking it with jokes. But I'm excited. I pre-ordered the book. I can't wait for it. Only thing better than seeing a Roy Wood show is texting with Roy, because all the jokes that he will not say on stage, I get every now and then, and they are outstanding. Oh, yeah, no, my only purpose is to let y'all know that Roy's my friend.
I mean, what are you doing?
Cool. Like, I don't give a damn about Roy. I don't give a damn about y'all. I would like the audience to know I got cool, famous friends.
Okay, but he's on the show right now. So do we. He's with us.
He don't like y'all, though.
What?
He here because you got a big audience. He don't really like
Mommy
y'all.
and Daddy are fighting. I gotta pick a side.
Are you here because you don't like us?
Whoa. I'm just joking.
I'm joking.
No. But no, my pops died when I was 16, and when I had my son, you start reflecting on all the lessons you got as a man from other men, and a lot of them did not come from my father. So as I started making a list of things I wanted to try and teach my kid, I start reflecting on what was instilled in me and where did I get that, and it came from a myriad of different people. And so I just wanted to kind of compose a lot of those different stories into one big thing. There's a great story in there that I don't think we even have time to get into now, but like the first time you stand up to a terrible boss and you choose your dignity over money, you know, like just moments like that, stories like that. So for me, it was Shoney's in Tallahassee. I don't know if you remember the great American restaurant, Shoney's, Dan. It was doing
it dead
well.
now? So it's gone? Shoney's? There are no more Shoney's
I
nowhere?
passed one on my way home from North
they're
Carolina.
Still kicking.
They're still kicking.
Yeah.
Shoney's is still kicking out there somewhere.
Let's I don't know about kicking it. It's Shoney's is where single A baseball teams go to celebrate winning a 3-game series now, and I say that with respect. It's a fallen institution. When Applebee's and Red Lobster got cheaper and they added a lot of more alcohol, it kind of kills Shoney's vibes. But my point is, if you got a supervisor you don't like, slap their ass in the face, and slap them, but make sure you don't need the job anymore. That's the important thing.
Okay, I think
That would be very important.
I think it's also a little bit reckless, though. You're now telling people to commit a crime. I think there's an assault involved with a slapping there. You want to be
Metaphorical.
It's only a crime if they snitch, Dan. Like, why in this scenario did the person snitch? Maybe they cool to lose a fair one, you know?
I did not know. I don't know what you speak of. I assume that if you slap somebody in the face, that that's going to result in problems that nobody around here needs. But I think we've all wanted to do that, and somewhere, I was curious why it is you tackle writing. Funny is really hard. Obviously, you do it well, but you're tackling here subject matter also that I would think would make you emotional, would it not?
Very much so. And, you know, when you look back at the idea of parenting, the problem is that when you reflect on where you learn things, you have to reckon with the fact that there are a lot of things you never got from your father, even when he was living. And so reconciling that is difficult because we're also, like all of us as parents as a whole, you want your kids to have a life that's better than the life that you had. So you want to work to provide that for your kids. While at the same time that I'm raising my son to have a better life, I'm reckoning with the fact that, well, I didn't have a dad like me. So in a way, you almost end up jealous of your own kid, but you're the reason that you're jealous of the kid. And so you constantly oscillate between being proud and happy that you're able to do these things, but also having a moment of reflection and that you never got that moment. And your father's passed, so you don't get to ask those questions as to why. And I think that's the thing that's the most difficult, is that when you have a parent that's good dad, bad husband, if that makes sense, it's hard to be able to not look at how he made certain choices in his life and not want to go, yo, man, what was your problem? Why would you do that? And get an honest answer. And so I think accepting the fact that you'll never have all the answers to why your parents did the things that they did, I think that's one of the most toughest things that we have to swallow as adults and push forward and just try and be better versions of them.
So if you're offended by a boss getting slapped in the face, you're probably the boss that deserves to get slapped in the face. And also...
And would snitch.
And would snitch.
Yeah, would call the authorities immediately if anyone slapped me in the face.
And also, Roy, is there one lesson that you learned or that you share in this book that you would make sure that anyone who buys this book walks away with?
For me, it's the idea of always knowing who you are and not allowing anyone to compromise that. And I think that's one of the first things that I believe the industry tries to ask of us. I believe it's one of the first things that significant others try to ask of us, if I'm being honest, because you can be with somebody and then that person may want you to conform and turn into something, that you aren't. I think that the idea of, I tell a story in the book about the time that I got booed at the Apollo Theater. and the lessons that I learned from that. And a lot of that came from, I'm not going to say a pimp. Like, here's a sidebar question real quick. Let me just ask you as a black man. When you see a dude out on the curb, but he's not selling drugs, but you don't see any women, is he a pimp or a hustler or a drug dealer? Which occupation? Because I don't even think I gave this dude the right job title.
Well, it depends on whether he has on a panky ring or not.
Oh, no, he didn't have on a pinky ring. He had on one of them super thick, all-leather Averex jackets.
Oh, that feels very hustler, drug dealer-like to me.
If he was a pimp, he's going through a lot of roster cuts, and he probably needs to make some free agent signings. I'll just say it that way.
In rebuilding mode?
Yeah, I think the biggest, but to answer the question, you can get lessons in life from anybody. You know, and for me, having just got booed, I'm walking back to the hotel, you know, in Elizabeth, New Jersey, which is pretty rough. And dude just comes up to me. I explained to him what's going on. He goes, man, I got shot 3 times. I'm still here. And he just walked off. And it was like such an insightful moment to have with just a random stranger. But the idea of knowing that you need to bounce back, that you can get back up off the ground, I think that's the biggest lesson that I feel like anybody can take away from this book. And, you know, it's a great Father's Day gift that you won't get until the end of October when it comes out.
No, I mean, I think it's powerful. Learning from other people's experiences is really hard to do. As a father, I know, like, trying to teach my kids based on things that they haven't experienced, I'm so impressed when they can internalize it, even though they don't understand it, they haven't experienced it yet. But the biggest thing that I'm working on with my kids right now is taking responsibility. I don't need a story. You messed up. That's it.
How do you teach that, though? That's the thing, is that we come up in different struggles, like all 3 of us, right? All with respective super blue collar, middle class, lower class upbringings, just depending on what job your parents got that particular year. How do you teach that type of struggle when your life is different? I rode an airplane 3 times total before the age of 25. My son is Delta Sky Miles Gold Medallion. He's 9. Like, I remember telling him one night, I was like, if you keep this up, we're going to fly Spirit. And he cried. Oh, he cried. So I think those are the things that I struggle with, you know, even with this book, man. Like, it's not like you're going to read 12 lessons and go, aha, I have all the keys. It's just, here's a couple of values that I learned from various people, some respected, some weird, some random street hustlers going through a rebuild on a corner in New Jersey. So, you know, to me, I think that we just have to always realize that, you know, I'm 46, I'm still learning about parenting. I'm still gathering knowledge from people, and sometimes from people younger than us too. I think that's also a mistake that we make at a certain age, is that we think because you ain't got as many gray hairs as me that you don't know anything, and that couldn't be any further from the truth.
I like envisioning your son at 9 years old walking to the front of the line of the lounge and just pushing his way through. Excuse me, sir.
Yeah,
I'm here. Let me in.
My favorite thing to do now with my son, Fox, my favorite thing to do is give him his own boarding pass and let him board with the boarding group without me, and just let him cut in front of those Zone 3 ghettos. I'm Zone 2, you bitch. Get out the way. Because we're teaching him like how to assert himself and all that stuff. So one of the first things, especially as a New Yorker, you got to learn how to throw them bows and get through the crowd, man. Folks, no one's going to give it to you, man. You got to weave and bob. And, you know, New York, you got to shove. You got to check somebody into the glass to get with your boarding group. So it's those little moments like that where I'm like, yeah, that's my boy. And then he can write a book.
The funny thing about that is what you're saying is, like, there's a balance and there's a time for everything. And I think oftentimes we want these firm rules to, like, always be like this, always be like that. Like, there's a time to be assertive. There's a time to be deferential, and understanding that is something that you have to learn. I have a bunch of stories similar to that. On our way down to my family, we're down here for a little bit of a Miami vacation. And before we left, my wife was like, hey, go get your goggles, pack your goggles. My 12-year-old son was like, we'll just get some when we get there.
Oh.
With what money?
Entitlement.
I was like, what?
Oh,
Entitlement.
no.
What?
If you don't get your ass in the garage.
No, that's too late for that. It's too late for that. What do you mean? You don't get your ass in the garage. It's already there. If he's already grown up in a way that makes him expect to get the goggles when he gets there. Get your ass in your garage ain't going to correct that.
Find the goggles, they in the garage, man.
Put it on the poll, please. In New York, do you have to shove? Can you guys look up for me, please, the number of Shoney's that there are in America? Because I don't believe.
I know there's one in Gatlinburg, Tennessee.
Definitely one in Orlando. Definitely one in Orlando.
Okay, and it needs to never die. Shoney's and put that on the poll as well. Do we need to make sure that Shoney's never dies? But boot at the Apollo, though. I'm sorry to interrupt you. You don't have one that hurts more than that, do you?
Oh, it wasn't getting booed at the Apollo that hurt. It was what happened on radio the next day. I was doing mornings in Birmingham at the time. I get booed. Now, for context, you got to understand, nobody from Alabama gets on TV, ever. Before me, I think it was Ricky Smiley was like the only person. Like, this is pre-Ruben Studdard American Idol Birmingham talent pool, pre-Taylor Hicks and Bo Bice and all of that. Bro, I got booed. I'd go on the radio the next day after my episode airs like a week later. The day after it airs, somebody calls into the station and goes, yeah, tell Roy if that's the best he can do, he need to start telling people he from Montgomery. You ain't ripping the crib right. Click.
Oh, no.
That hurt because that person was looking forward to be doing well and representing. It's a lot of responsibility, man. When you from a place that don't get put on much, you supposed to represent. You got to over-represent, and they're not representing that.
I mean, getting booed at the Apollo is kind of a rite of passage, isn't it? Yeah.
I guess, but the thing that they don't tell you about the Apollo is that it's rigged against you. First of all, they shoot 3 episodes in one night with the same crowd. So by the time you get on stage as a comedian, the audience has been there 2.5 hours. You're dealing with crowd fatigue. Number 2, the drinks are $3. At least they were in 2002 when I got booed. So you got 1,500 people in Harlem who've been drinking $3 well vodka for 2.5 hours. Yeah, they just booed a kid singing a gospel song, and then here comes me. Hey, y'all, I'm from Alabama. I sure y'all ain't got no Waffle House up here? Good. And then you get booed, and then you go back down into this green room with all of the other amateur night acts that are all waiting to go up, and it's like if you could ever see somebody coming back from the electric chair, like after getting fried, I don't know if that makes sense. And half the room has survived, the other half is waiting to go. It's like walking the green mile. So there's so many things that you're up against. Like Apollo back in the day would have a music act every episode, like a major music act. So they would shoot all 3 of those acts. So I think the night that I taped, it was Ja Rule. I think Faith Evans came. Ja Rule did 2 songs for an episode. Faith Evans came out and did 2 songs for an episode. And then it was P. Diddy and the Family. They did like a whole medley, whatever. Like that was how the show started. And then you do all the Apollo kids. Then you do the real amateur. There was a man in my episode. I wish I could find the whole episode. Bro, there was a man in my episode at Showtime at the Apollo. He was a black guy in the 60s, roller skating melodically to Lou Rawls, and they didn't boo him. And I'm like, really? That's what we're letting across the... Look, I know this is a place for black talent, and we get to showcase the best of blackness, but what are you going to do with the roller skating to Lou Rawls? What is there a talent agent in the crowd? You got all the gifts, kid. What's your name? Mr. Stanley? Oh, Mr. Stanley, good to me. Yes, where does this go?
Sandman got to get out there on that one. You got to do your job, Sandy. You got to get out there.
Nah, it was also, they respected him because he looked like he was marching back in the day for our rights. I get why you didn't boo him, but it's
that's not fair. That's not the opener.
I got to disagree with you there. Like, I understand that the reason that we had this theater, it could perform at this point, is in part because of the sacrifices he made. But don't soil our stage with this foolishness.
Yeah, if the family's listening, I'm sorry. I hope you're somewhere still roller skating to Lou Rawls. Come open for me.
All right. Put it on the poll. Was the guy roller skating to Lou Rawls not booed because he marched during the civil rights?
For our rights.
He was like 65.
Because he marched for our rights.
Old.
Okay, but I don't believe that's why that happened. But okay, that's where the well drinks were respectful. Just at the roller skating Lou Rawls guy.
There's a respect for age. Like, Dan, you get this.
Okay.
There's a respect for age and experience.
All right. I've got some sports questions for you before you get out of here. And I tell the people, the man of many fathers, buy his book, support the people who support us. Roy Wood is one of the greats who is supporting us, and we appreciate his time and, as I said, his ambitions. But as a Cubs fan, do you want to tell people that that Suzuki is a top 20 hitter in baseball? Like, are you beating your chest about your baseball team because you have a good baseball team?
No, because I want us to be good quietly. And then in October, then we can start playing with pressure. I love the fact that y'all don't cover Suzuki the way that y'all cover everybody else in the league right now. I know he's not your favorite Japanese player. I know there's one in Los Angeles that y'all seem to love a little bit more. But guess who got him in the numbers? Suzuki do, bitch.
Yep, that's right. That's what I was trying to lure out of him. Pacers Thunder, do you have any thoughts there? This is not obviously a series that America is going to embrace for viewership reasons, but it's great basketball. It's fun basketball teams.
If you appreciate basketball, you got to love it. But, I think this is when the NBA needs to, like, when you have a Middle America NBA Finals, this is when the league has to start paying influencers to go to these games. Like, you gotta get Timothy Chalamet and just, hey, would you mind just sitting courtside in Oklahoma on a Tuesday night, please? Because that's where the finals are supposed to be where the casual fans come in. I think that's probably where the league, they'll never admit it, but they're probably behind closed doors going, we need it in New York. But you're going to get a good series. You're going to get a deserving champion. Halliburton has shut up everybody's mouth. Don't know how I feel about the nickname Halliban.
Yeah,
but
it's tough.
But outside of that, I'm fine with the finals. I'm not here to create a whole new debate, but it's that one flies a little too close to freedom and dead veterans and.
Dang, why you ain't ask my man about the Stanley Cup final? It's happening right now. So you ask him about basketball?
Well,
baseball.
I did ask him about baseball.
Well, the Atlanta Thrashers have a good chance in the Stanley Cup final. As we all know, my favorite NHL team is the Atlanta Thrashers.
The name of the book is The Man of Many Fathers. I want to play this sound for you and get your thoughts on Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise, I'm sure your book is not as emotional as Tom Cruise is about Father's Day.
Also, I got to ask, Father's Day is just around the corner. What would an ideal Father's Day look like for you?
Hey, just having fun, man. Making movies, big adventure, having a great time.
Nailed it.
I love it. Don't you ask me no other questions, heifer. I told your ass before we turned the camera on that we're talking about the airplane flips. Ask me about the submarine. Ask me about the sky. That's it. No ad libs. You're getting exactly. Respect to Tom Cruise, who rarely surfaces ever for media. Y'all ain't gonna never get him on the podcast because of behavior like that. That's what you get. Try to trick him. That's discipline.
Put it on the poll, please. Are you ever getting Tom Cruise on the podcast? Because he's so right about that. Tom Cruise ain't ever coming on anybody's podcast.
Just having fun, man.
Just tying up the loop
Don't
here for
throw away.
Shoney's. Roy. Shoney's.
Yeah.
65 restaurants between Shoney's and Captain D's.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
Don't fall for it, Dan.
I'm reading here. Shoney's, which operates as Shoney's restaurants and Captain D's
on.
Don't
restaurants.
fall for it.
65 restaurants
I
across
got
17
different
states.
information. I've got 900 Shoney's in
Ain't no
28
way.
states, most of them
Not
in
a chance.
Tennessee.
Ain't no way.
I'll fall for it.
No
Tony.
way it's
What's
900
these?
left. No way.
400 in Tennessee? Like, come on, man.
24.
It can't be 900
I'm told
left.
there are 24 in Tennessee.
I'm telling you, Shoney's was the king. They had an amazing breakfast bar, but Saturdays cannot carry a franchise when Applebee's, Chili's, Olive Garden, Outback were all attacking you and coming under $10 a plate for food, and you don't have a liquor license. You were doomed from the jump. And God bless the owners because they were devout Christians and they didn't want to fool with liquor, and that's part of what happened. But you see, Cracker Barrel gave in, didn't it? Cracker Barrel tried to hang on, and then they was like, all right, nah, get the liquor flowing. We about to die.
See what happens, Shorty's.
All of our customers...
Shorty's was
Cracker
balling.
Barrel
They
got
was
too
balling.
many customers that be roller skating.
We can do it. We can play this. We can dance. Shorty's was balling until integration. That's essentially what happened. They let a bunch of other people in the league, and so Shorty's could no longer compete. They couldn't do what everybody else could do.
What is Captain D's?
If I gotta ask you,
Roy, thank you for being on with us. The Man of Many Fathers is the name of the book. It's available now for pre-order at crownpublishing.com. Go to roywoodjr.com.
Yeah, just go to my website. It's got all,
for his latest dates and shows. Thank you, sir. Good seeing you as always.
All right, bro.
I wanted to ask you guys a handful of questions. One, going back to what we were saying before, I still haven't been able to shake off of me Chris Cody shaking his chest and yelling at everybody, we broke them mentally. I don't feel like he should be inserting himself in that breaking the way that he is because he had 3 beers at the concession stand during the game.
4 years season ticket holder.
Territory member.
Been a season ticket holder before Kachuk was here. All right?
Those are bona fides, but you saying we broke them mentally is a bridge too far for me, is what I'm saying. You saying that you had anything to do with Connor McDavid's breaking.
You don't think at Connor McDavid's, someone points in the direction of Chris Cody and says, buddy broke you.
Yeah. If that crowd wasn't there last night, Dan, it would have been a lot tougher for them to have all that momentum. I was there screaming my head off. I annoyed the guy in front of me. When they do this thing, as the players are walking out, they're like, get up, wave your towel, and scream. So what did I do last night? I got up, I waved my towel, and I was like, ah! And I was so lost in the scream that at one point, the guy in front of me, looked back like, dude, and my wife was just
embarrassing.
My wife is standing, for that guy, right? That guy wasn't yelling.
You getting the turnaround look.
What?
That's embarrassing.
Look, guys, we're trying to be Edmonton here. Did you see that barn? That barn is loud. Okay, when they come out, that is the time of the game when we need to be at our loudest. And I wanted to do my part, and the guy in front of me got a little annoyed.
You made Dominique snort from waving your towel.
The announcer's like, get up, wave your towel.
Khaled?
And he goes, here they, no, it's like that deep voice. It's like their intro voice guy. Here they come. And they show Bobrovsky leading us out. And I'm just like, ah!
You got lost in the scream.
And the guy in front of me was just like, what? Dude, a minute of this? You're still screaming?
It wasn't the towel waving that made me snort. It was a couple different things. So Tony's doing the show for me in my ear, which is fantastic. And also, the video room is doing the show for me on the side screen, which is also outstanding.
Whoa,
I was trying to listen, but
what happened?
What they are doing to Zaz's face is outstanding.
So Megamind has made an appearance again, and I'm pleased that the video team is amusing Dominique, and it is a lot of forehead. It is a substantive amount of forehead. Zaslow, I didn't realize that the backward caption.
Oh man,
that's not fair. Yo, that's not fair.
It made you blue.
Not doctored at all. The
what
size.
You thinking about?
They just colored
everything.
Yo, that's bullshit.
That is how you play hockey, though. It is. We can all agree.
Captain D's.
What is Captain D's and what is the real information on Shoney's? Because
Dan, I don't know who told you there was 900 Shoney's
I will
around.
tell you. I will tell
That's
you.
Shoney's propaganda is what that is, Dan.
Right. You know what?
You shouldn't fall victim to propaganda.
Okay.
Danny's fired.
No. Yeah.
Danny's said 900 to me too.
Danny's not fired, but
there's 55.
No. We're gonna somebody get a camera.
Somewhere in between.
Danny, come on in here, Danny. Danny, don't point.
No.
Danny, come on in here. Stunt Danny, come in here and go to the microphone and stand next to Tony and explain to me. No, don't show me. Don't show me your Shoney's Google search.
Oh, it's AI.
Don't show me. No,
AI.
no. Listen to me. You guys cannot give me information in my ear that has not been vetted, that you're allowing Elon Musk's drunk robots to control because you don't know how to do the internet anymore because all of the robots have taken over the searches.
I just searched the same thing, and the AI response for me says 58 locations across 15 states.
Okay, so Tony, I owe you an apology.
Thank you.
Because I should have trusted your research.
You know I'm thorough.
Stunt Danny, explain yourself here.
Big moment here. Don't be nervous.
Stunt Danny, you're sitting in for Lewis, whose judgment is very bad.
Don't be nervous when you talk.
Listen, Forbes is a trusted article. I didn't look at the year because it's a tight window. I didn't look at Wikipedia because Wikipedia is worse than AI.
Okay, well, that didn't sound like an apology. It didn't sound like accountability. It didn't sound like anything other
Dominique,
than
we need to teach
just
Danny accountability too.
Last time I was down here, we had a big conversation about accountability, and everyone at the show, we discussed and we understood what accountability meant. We thought, and now we got to start over. So, Danny, next time you come here,
I owned it.
Hold on.
I owned it.
No.
Can we get back to yesterday?
You had a whole bunch of excuses.
Yesterday, we have a meeting because at one point, Video played the wrong video yesterday. And in our recap
played the wrong
meeting
video.
after the show, he goes, I'm going to be accountable here. I played the wrong video because multiple people were talking in my ear.
It's true.
So this is what I would suggest, Danny. My bad. I got you next time.
That is not
My
the Metal
bad.
Lark
I
way.
got you next time.
That is
There it is, Danny. I see you, baby.
But this was next time.
Yeah! Oh, that was terrible.
Minor penalty, 2 minutes for adding nothing.
Usually you do the full elevator. He bailed on it.
Well, he can't do the full
stuck in it.
elevator because of
Let me
the
show his-
shape of his body. He
What Danny did.
can't
Cut
go
to me,
down
guys.
any floors because his elevator gets trapped halfway.
Captain D's.
Cut to me, guys. He looked at his watch and then midway through, cut to me, guys. Oh no, he's not there.
Danny can't cut to
Danny
you
does
because
the cuts.
There you go.
It's and then he was like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh, ow.
Dan, so Captain D's, part of the Shoney's brand. There's a couple of them out there, and they're a beautiful, fast casual seafood restaurant. And what I was telling Dominique is that they have a beautiful grilled white fish. They don't say what kind of fish, but we know it's white.
Put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Is there such a thing
That
as
fish
a
ain't for me.
beautiful, fast, casual seafood
And notice how I said
restaurant?
fast casual. It's not
No,
fast food.
No,
It's
listen.
fast casual. It's good food fast.
I know what you said, but what I'm saying is my fish, I need it to be neither fast nor casual.
White, at least.
No, I have a color.
Hey, it's white though. Don't worry.
So that's the poll question. Beautiful, fast, casual. Is there such a thing as a beautiful, fast, casual seafood restaurant? Because that's why there are so few Shoney's still existing in America. Because everyone knows that you don't want to go fast, casual on the seafood.
So is it 55 or 900?
Well, no, I think we got it right. Thank you. We'll get to the bottom.
Not
of
900.
Not Danny at a microphone, not Danny doing the elevator, not Danny talking in my ear with any information gathered from the internet. I think that's the lesson that's learned. And also, not Danny when it comes to accountability unless we stop him in his tracks and Dominique lectures him about it. But the thing I wanted to ask you guys about both the article that Dominique led off the show with in USA Today about the pain that football players play in. When I ask you the question, Game 3, where you feel confident enough to shout at the end of a hockey season, grueling, tired, and Edmonton's been a buzzsaw. You feel the comfort of shouting, we broke them mentally. I want to ask you guys, when it comes to depth in hockey, pain of a season, length of a season, how tired human beings are at this point in the season. Are you not asking Connor McDavid right now to overcome something that comes at you in waves and does not fatigue because of the depth that it has? Do you believe in the idea that the Panthers would have an ability as champions to wear down two players over a series when everyone's tired this time of year, when you're talking about the physical imposition of will over the course of a season and how you would break someone like McDavid mentally if you were actually doing it? Do you believe? I believe the OKC Thunder have the ability to do that to anybody over 7 games. I just saw them do it to the MVP of the league. I saw the MVP of the league change hands because they did something on defense that wore down a tired champion at the end. What I'm asking you about the Panthers is, do they have an advantage over what is now possibly 4 remaining games, because not only can they wear you down over a game and then wear you down in the third period, Edmonton has been able to overcome that through 2 games, but do they have the ability in a physical sport to actually wear someone down over 7 games where they have an advantage because 2 stars are tired?
I think they do. Looking at the ice time for Connor McDavid last night, they played 20 minutes and 51 seconds. That's defenseman numbers. You don't usually see that out of a forward. He's been out there the entire game, right? And he's going to do that for over a 7-game series. He did that in the last series last year. So he has the stamina and the ability to do that. But the Panthers are going to end up wearing him down. He's going to end up making mistakes, creating turnovers and everything like that. So, yeah, I think they do have the ability to wear down everybody around Connor McDavid, including Connor McDavid himself.
I feel like Gustav Forsling, who's struggled in this playoffs, this series he's been great because he's really the only guy. And nobody can skate with Connor McDavid, but he's by far our best skater. And there were multiple times last night to joke about get in front of him, block him, where Gustav Forsling is affecting Connor McDavid, and he's always out there with them. So Gustav's minutes, I don't think, are crazy, but he's always out there with Connor. So I think Gustav has been a Connor stopper, at least containing Connor so far.
The thing that I want to present to you guys, and in the context of this USA Today article that I want to talk about, the wear of this sport and how injured guys are. I want people to appreciate. I know hockey fans, like the deepest hockey experts, appreciate what I'm about to say. I hope they appreciate what Connor McDavid is being asked to overcome here. You can hate Florida, you can think McDavid a choker, but when I see him spin through Barkov that way, I'm like, wow, that's special, but can it be ground down by 20 men? By 70 lines of we're just going to keep flogging you with a bunch of above-average people because our depth is unholy.
Well, and the key is, like Roy mentions, you got Connor McDavid who's on the ice, defenseman-type minutes, like 27, 28 minutes a game. He's still on the ice for less than half the game. And I think sometimes that's lost on us, where, yes, he's the best, but he can't be on the ice all the time.
And it's over the course of a particularly long season, a grueling playoff run, an emotionally and physically grueling playoff run. To push through that stuff, I think, is really difficult. And we often do this with basketball players after they lose. We're like, well, what's his injury going to be if he played poorly in a playoff series? We kind of like wave our hand at it as if it's not a big deal, and then you read some of these articles or you read about what it actually feels like, because we get desensitized to these injuries because we hear them so much. Like, go get turf toe. Just forget getting turf toe. Just go ahead and bump into a wall real quick. Just knock knees with somebody and see how you feel. And like the Armstead piece, it was on a podcast that he was being interviewed, and he said after games on Sundays, he could not walk under his own power until Wednesday or Thursday. He never practiced because he could only move in a football-worthy way under painkillers since the 3rd year of his freaking career.
That's the guy we had protecting Tua? Jesus.
I mean, if you look at the Panthers' injuries 3 seasons ago versus Vegas in the Stanley Cup final, Aaron Ekblad played with a broken foot. Eetu Luostarinen played with a broken leg. That's crazy. Matthew Tkachuk broke his sternum on that hit.
Can you imagine, like, I'm sorry to pick on Danny, but Danny can be a symbol for a lot of us. But can you imagine if Danny, who just came in here and blamed the internet for his Shoney's mistake, was in here on a broken foot? Like, you don't need your feet to Google, but we would all give him all the latitude in the world. If Danny was like, hey, 900 restaurants, we'd be like, Danny, he broke his foot yesterday, guys. Take it easy on Danny. But if a football player or if a hockey player or if an athlete messes up with a fractured throat, we're like, you can't miss that block. You're out there, aren't you? We say that shit all the time. Like, you're out there, aren't you? His throat was fractured.
That's not Armstead. That was the
Ragnow.
That was the other featured participant in this USA Today story, because what these people are doing to overcome things is a bit insane, but it is normalized. I don't know how many of you saw this the other day, but there was a game-winning hit in a Mets game by Francisco Lindor, and they just casually said, "Who's playing with a broken toe?" And I'm like, ooh, that sounds unpleasant to be sliding and doing things with a broken toe. And it also sounds unpleasant to get the painkillers in the feet that you would have to get so that doesn't hurt because you're playing with a broken toe.
I think he's still second with that broken toe. Sliding feet first. Oh.
Yeah. And
pushing off.
But fractured throat, did you guys know that was a thing? Were you guys aware that the fractured throat was? If I tell you have a fractured throat, living is not going to be the same after that. Correct? That does not heal in a way that then makes it a not fractured throat in a reasonable amount of time.
Now I am using AI, what Danny used, but I'm reading here that there's really no difference between a fracture and a rupture when it comes to the throat.
Good to know.
I'm
sure that makes Frank's throat feel better.
I'd go rupture, though. I feel like rupture sounds worse. Like, if I had it, I'd rather say ruptured than fractured.
You made the point that it's something that doesn't go away, which is I coach my son's flag football team, and sometimes I practice around with them. And last Friday, I practiced with them. My hip and my knee still feel terrible. And I'm limping around. I won't let y'all know it. I won't let my son know it. But I feel awful.
When he says Chippy game and what those hockey players feel like, just imagine running into the boards 3 times and hitting it with your shoulder. How you'd wake up in the morning.
Let's look into that.
Join us in the cheap seats tomorrow night. Dan and the Kid Miro are watching Game 3 of the NBA Finals presented by Remy Martin. Catch the live stream starting at 8 p.m. on the Le Batard Show YouTube channel.
Looking forward to that one because I don't know how many of you guys are going to be involved with that. I don't know who's coming, but tomorrow night, I think this was scheduled back when we thought it was going to be Knicks. I'm assuming that was where it is that we got the Kid Miro from. I'm assuming we didn't do
Huge
this.
Pacer fan, Dan. What are you talking about?
So
I'm talking about you.
We will hate watch. Yes, that's right. We will hate watch the finals with the Kid Miro. I'm assuming he doesn't want to watch that with us anymore. I thought he was signing up for something else. We will do that tomorrow night, and we will have an assortment of surprises for you. I wanted to ask the group here, and be careful. You might tell on yourself here. How do you guys feel? And Tony, you're too young for this, but how do you guys feel about the last day of school for the kids?
Oh.
I mean, it was always a fun time for me.
No. As a father, Chris, not the last day of school. Everybody, of course, likes the last day of school for them. Everybody likes getting out of school.
I love it because it means traffic will be better.
You enjoyed summer as a kid? That was good?
Yeah.
It was a good time?
I did. That's why I thought it was a terrible question, honestly.
He didn't
answer my God, man.
I mean, I was just like, what did you guys think of summer? I enjoyed it.
Tony, you're too young in your
too young for any sort
of traffic, Dan. Nowadays, it's traffic
I
will
want
be
to
lighter.
examine what you think I thought.
Camp better than school?
What you think
I thought maybe you were like, on the last day of school, do you, are you going to do some funny business at the school, pull a prank on something? I don't know. How do you handle the last day? Do you celebrate?
I'm asking you as a father.
Traffic. Traffic will lighten up.
Spoken like a man with one of them things. Man, last day of school, the contrast between, I appreciate you, Chris, because the last day of school when I was young, so thrilling.
You enjoyed it? That's obvious.
But everyone loves the last day of school. What did you think that I was asking you?
No more homework? Better than homework?
I think, Dan, you probably like school, huh?
I liked the last day of school. I like the freedom of summer, but I also liked school. And he's not totally wrong that every once in a while I'd like to stay for a couple extra days.
But now, the countdown to the last day of school, because my kids are at the age now where they're a little old to be sending them to camp. And obviously, they're too young to go get a job or for me to just let them loose on the summer all by themselves. So it's just asking, can they do things that I'm like, yeah, I want you the hell out of the house, but I also don't want to have to worry about you for the next 6 hours. It's just...
That's in the preview, Dominic.
I know it is.
Don't let them distract you with what it is that the video team is doing in the preview.
I know that it's in the preview.
Okay. You can't let them distract you.
Oh, man. That's unfair.
It's much better than me talking about the last day of school.
Ron Magill is now available. Ron Magill's... let's listen to him. Let's listen. Eavesdrop on his call.
Oh, we can't do that, man.
Okay.
No.
Well, you put him up. It's not my fault. The video team's taking over today. You've allowed them to distract the talent by putting up pictures that are in the preview.
900 Shonies.
Right. We can't get
That's not my fault.
No,
At their peak, did they even have 900 Shonies at their peak?
Roy, accountability. You say it's not your fault. You're in charge. You're in the seat of the executive producer. Accountability. We just eavesdropped on Ron's conversation because he was put up and we heard him yelling at somebody. We've never seen that side of Ron
He's
Magill
like,
before.
I need more photos behind me. That's what he said.
That's what he's yelling.
Ron, take us through some of the pictures behind you of all those television and media celebrities that nobody cares about.
Is that what we're going to talk about today?
Yes. Take us through those pictures behind you. Take any one of the photos off of the wall and take us through
There's Coach Spo right there. And there's LeBron and Udonis Haslem right there. And right below them is Shaq. Right there, Shaq.
Is that Frank Fort I see up there? Like
Frank Fort.
You're giving me a lot of the big names, but I see a lot of small names up on that board. All of your media friends.
Don't insult Frank. You got a lot of people up there. There's a lot of good people that I've worked with over the years, and I'm very happy. Well, who are you pointing at now there, Chris?
Local news guy. His name is.
There are 9 of those up there. Local news guy. His name is.
Great teeth.
Yes.
Hold on a second. You're talking about Michael Williams.
There he is.
Oh, Michael Williams looks like television.
Where's Rick Sanchez?
Is Rick Sanchez up there?
Yeah, he's up here. Hold on. I'll get him for you. Hold on. Look.
Okay, let's get.
How do you like that pull, Dano?
That's good. Yes.
Dwight Lauderdale.
That's a never-ending wall of photos right there.
Is Dwight Lauderdale up? Oh, that's quintessential Sanchez. That's young Sanchez. That is up-and-coming Sanchez.
Newsplex Sanchez.
That's a collector's item right there. Dwight Lauderdale!
With the mustache.
Yes.
Do we got an Ann Bishop?
Was Ann Bishop back?
No way Ann Bishop is up there.
He got her.
Yeah. It is a media hall of fame. Look at that. It's autographed. He's got the rarest of collections. The autographed Bishop combined with the Lauderdale mustache, the television mustache.
Hold on a second. I got better.
Don No
has been requested.
Who else are you requesting?
Don No, the weatherman Don No. I'm sure Brian Norcross is probably up there somewhere.
Brian Norcross is here. Yes, Brian Norcross is here. But wait a minute. I was trying to find someone who used to be a mainstay and then all of a sudden kind of disappeared. Where the heck did I put her? She's here somewhere. Oh, here we go. How many of you guys recognize her?
That's Sally Fitz.
There you go. Sally Fitz.
How does Roy know that?
What do you mean? How does Roy know that? She's iconic. But I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was co-anchor with Rick Sanchez.
Yeah, but that's young Sally Fitz. I did not recognize her. Sally Fitz was on in this market for what, 30 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was. Yeah. It's a better one. Hold on a second. I got one here for you. Hold on a second.
Bob Soper.
I love this.
This is a great game. It's a great game. Ron just wanders around his office.
Yeah, look, here we go. Here's Bob.
Oh.
Is that Rinnick?
No, he said Bob Soper.
Oh, there you go, Bob Soper.
Who's the best Dan you got on the wall? Got any impressive Dans up there?
I've asked Dan for a picture, but he wouldn't give me one.
Oh my God. Chris Cody just pointed out something that I didn't think that Ron Magill was prepared to answer for. Chris Cody just said, I saw one black guy on that wall.
Canberra Marshall?
No, I think it was Dwight Lauderdale.
Yeah, it was Dwight Lauderdale.
There's another one.
In
That
color.
guy.
In color.
In color. The one in
You
color.
ask and you shall receive.
Yeah, Canberra Marshall!
Yes, classic sports newsman Cambrell Marshall, a titan in the industry for 9 years.
No, he's got Jawan Strader there. Jawan Strader.
Oh, it's Calvin black man.
That's who
Calvin
I was pointing.
Hughes still doing it.
Yes.
That's who I was
Notice he's
pointing.
in color. Everybody else isn't.
Whoa.
Calvin Hughes?
That's offensive.
Be careful.
Picture. Pictures in color.
Hold on.
Picture.
Hold on.
Oh, you may have found one.
Oh, here. How many of you guys are going to remember this guy?
Who he play for?
I don't remember Tom Randall.
Now you're just flexing black guys.
No.
Again,
You guys
not in
accused me
color.
of only having one black guy on the wall.
Wait, that's right. Okay.
I do have to say that whoever the last guy was, first black guy with the shape up there. I respect it. He had a nice sharp line. The rest
Calvin
of those
Hughes?
guys, yeah, he was the first one. It
He's still doing it. That's why. He's with the
So
times.
the older ones were older. It was
That's why they're in
pre-shape-up.
black and
Okay,
white.
gotcha.
And then you had Calvin Hughes in color.
Remember her?
I do not remember. Is that
Maria Gennaro? You don't remember?
Oh, did she go to California after that?
Yes, she did. She went to
Ron
Los Angeles.
remembers.
Ron remembers. Ron, I'm troubled by the absence of black women on your wall.
How about Dougie Dunbar?
Classic.
Oh, yeah, Doug Dunbar.
Classic.
This is a real trip down memory lane. I'm sorry to the audio audience. I'm sorry to
Here we
anyone
go.
who did not
Look at that.
grow up in South
Hey,
Florida.
Hey, we found one. Yeah.
I gotta
one?
be honest.
No, I got
Don't
more
love
than
it.
one.
Don't love it. Don't
Who
love
else, Dan? What do you want? Ron's got it.
All right.
Jose
Everyone's-
Diaz Ballard.
Okay, a baseless accusation of racism against the wall in Ron Magill's office. I retract it.
They were all out of the shot, though.
They were, though. They're not
How does
prominently
it go?
featured. None of them are prominently
Oh, Tony
Segreto!
Segreto!
The great Tony Segreto. A classic.
What's Jim Barry at?
You will not do better than the mustachioed Dwight Lauderdale paired with the autographed Ann Bishop. That is the highest form of media coupling that you have on your wall.
Is that Michael Jackson?
I think so. I didn't want to
looks
say it,
like
but I
it.
think
That's
so.
one of his famous stories, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, he's been dying to tell this one. Here we go.
Oh, there it is.
Here
Michael.
we go.
Michael
Here
Jackson.
we
I'm
go.
not telling you the story.
Yeah, he's told us a bunch.
I don't want to hear it again. Not interested in that story again.
Anyway, enough of that segment, but I just wanted to let you know that I am I don't,
Nope.
You're famous.
I'm an equal opportunity, everybody.
There we go. Nailed it.
What the hell were you trying to say there, Ron?
Equal opportunity, everybody.
You're equal opportunity, everybody.
When
Did
you understand.
First of all,
didn't like
you
my
heard me,
accusation?
you said you have one black guy up there, you have one black woman up there. I have many, okay? There are many of my friends up there, okay? So you
They
were wrong
weren't
there.
prominent in the shot. All
I
I'm
tried
saying,
to show you.
Ron?
I tried to show you a lot of sports people because you're a sports thing, okay? That's all. That's all.
Roy,
I got people.
Ron,
I got people that are much bigger to me. I mean, to me, like the icons of the world for me. Like, I'm going to show you just one more. The single most important person to me. Hold on.
is this going to be Don Francisco?
Greg Cody.
Don Francisco. It's got to be Don Francisco. What's the most important
Steve
person?
Does anybody know who that is?
I see you in a reflection.
Yes,
Oh.
we can't see who that is because of the reflection. Who is that? Is that your father?
No, that's not my father. That is the father of nature television. That is Sir David Attenborough.
Oh, that was like 25 years ago.
He used to
Voice
his
of
voice.
nature.
That's what it is. Yeah.
The voice of nature. Did Planet Earth, did The Frozen Planet, did all those incredible documentaries. The man is a god when it comes to nature television. He's the founder of nature television.
Super white.
Wow. I don't understand this. I don't even understand how that subject comes up. I don't. I really don't.
Hey, Ron, he's just messing with you, man. Just don't fall into Dan's trap. He's trying to get you upset. Just go ahead.
Well, I
and
want to
ride
know
on
why
this.
Dan hasn't sent me a picture of him. I have a picture of him and I. I'm going to have.
I don't
him-
want to be
I'll
on your
send it-
racist wall.
Whoa.
I boycott your racist wall.
Can a wall be racist?
Roy, you're not going to say anything. You're not going to
Hey.
say anything, Roy. You're just going to sit
Why?
there, Roy?
Why do you have
I'm
to point
sorry.
Roy out?
I'm
Why,
sorry.
Roy, don't throw Roy in the middle of this. Now all of a sudden you want black people on the fringes of your wall, but in the middle of the controversy.
Wow, and you're looking serious too, Dan. I mean, you're really going to do that seriously, right? I don't believe you. I can't believe you even.
Are we on live television?
DEI wall over here. We need that.
Don't you have any dumb video you want to show me?
I do actually. Thank you for bringing that up.
Now that you mention it.
Thank you. Yeah, I do. Thank you for doing that. We will get the video department now to play this first. So you tell me what's happening here. Explain everything that you see in front of you, Ron.
Okay. Oh, it's an octopus taking out a shark.
That's a great sentence. A great
There you
sentence.
go.
If that doesn't get you over to YouTube, that is an octopus. I did not know the octopus could do that, Ron.
Oh, yes, they can. You know, an octopus has a tremendously powerful beak, almost like a big parrot, but it's more powerful, and they'll take out anything. An octopus could put a hurting to whatever it decides it wants to eat.
Is this eating it, or is this like engulfing it, like strangling it? It's hard to tell what's even happening here.
I'm sure it's probably eating it. Yeah.
Can you explain, though, what larger than that can an octopus take out? Because I did not know. Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Did you know that an octopus could take out a shark? Is that too small of a shark? Is that, Tony, are you impressed by this or not impressed by it?
I'm impressed that he can grab it. I think the shark is getting away.
The shark got away.
The shark gets away. The shark gets away.
Ron, who would win underwater if I got like 2 minutes of breath in me? Like me and an octopus.
You do not have 2 minutes of breath in you.
30 seconds of breath.
You ain't got 2 minutes, brother.
I got like 90 seconds.
Aquaman?
2 minutes.
That octopus we just saw. I feel like if that thing comes out to me, I'm just taking it and I'm like stretching it out. I'm just like breaking its arms.
You wouldn't even be able to hold it because it's slime right through your hands. You wouldn't be able to hold it.
You think you would break an octopus apart in pieces?
I think when one of its limbs comes at me, I just grab it and it feels the force that I'm grabbing it. I don't know. And then it
has 7 others.
Yeah, but I don't
have their own brains.
Ron, tell me, would I get my ass kicked?
Yeah, now, you wouldn't get your ass kicked by that octopus because that's a fairly small octopus. But if you got a giant octopus, yeah, you could be in serious trouble.
I mean, 2 minutes, we could do that at some point. You called out 2 minutes. We got to call you for 2 minutes.
Just
2 minutes with an octopus with an overall length of 6 to 7 feet is going to wrap all 8 limbs around you, confine your arms, and you're just going to freaking drown. That's what's going to happen to you.
But wait a minute. Can we go back for a second to the video? The shark got away. Can an octopus take out a shark? Yes or no?
Theoretically, if it wanted to, yes, it could.
But it clearly wants to here, does it not? It seems to want to here.
I don't know. I can't read the octopus's mind. Maybe the octopus is saying, listen, one more time, and you're not going to be so lucky.
Okay.
So go away and don't come back.
All right. Maybe that's what it is.
I'm going to see how long I can hold my breath.
It will not be 2 minutes. And
2 minutes is a long.
Someone count me down to start.
No, come on in here. Come on in here so we
Cody.
can judge you. Come in here.
There, okay.
Yes, come in here because I
You
want.
couldn't judge. You couldn't hold your breath for a minute, Cody.
Ooh,
not even a minute.
Maybe a minute. Maybe.
No, not a minute. I'm telling you, Cody's not going to hold it for a minute.
Wow. His father, oddly enough, because we're in reruns, we did this with his father 6 weeks ago, who's had famous asthmatic problems for about, 5 years. And his father was able to hold his breath for a minute. I don't know if that's hereditary or not, but I think Chris Cody will be able to do a minute. 2 minutes, no shot.
I have under 30.
No, he'll make it to like 50 seconds.
15.
No, he will.
No, 50.
No chance.
5-0.
No,
No chance.
he will make it a minute, but he will be surprised by how long a minute feels.
I think Chris Cody is.
No, 2 minutes is. There will be no 2 minutes.
Long time.
Chris Cody surprises you guys all the time.
If he makes it to a minute, he's going to look like a tomato.
He's going to look like a tomato, but I got Chris making it to 2 minutes.
Wow.
No, wait, okay.
No.
I got. Can we put something on that?
Oh, yeah. Let's put something on it.
No.
Make sure somebody plugs his nose, holds his nose shut.
no, he's not a liar.
Everyone thinks he's going to be a cheater. That's why I brought him in here so I can see if
Make
anything.
this money for me,
I have that
Chris.
Greg Cody loud breath. You'll be hearing if I'm breathing.
Oh, yeah.
Let's play another video for Ron.
Let me gather myself here.
And just put Chris in the picture, start a timer for him, get ready, and we will all do this together. But for the moment, just put up the next video for Ron to do play-by-play on, please. What's happening here, Ron?
Oh, this elephant is looking in the water. Oh, there's something oh, it's an antelope. I must help this antelope. Oh, no, don't worry, antelope. I'm here just to help you. Just let me rub my trunk around your horns. Let me pull you out. You will not drown. I'm here to save you. Elephants are kind, smart animals. Yes, there you go.
Wow.
There you go, my friend. There you go.
How did you know that? How did you know that elephant was there to help and not hurt?
Because you saw how gently he was using his trunk. If it was going to hurt, it'd be slapping it around like a baseball bat.
Okay. That's not what he was doing. You've seen an elephant do that? Have you seen an elephant use its trunk as a weapon?
Use its trunk to grab something that it then stomps on, yes.
Let's play another video here for Ron. Chris, you're ready? You're getting ready? And video is getting ready to have the timer with you. Let's play this next
They told
video.
me they want me to have my timer up,
Okay,
so.
you can do your timer. But let's see this next video. Ron, tell us what this is. Is this a fish with legs?
It's some type of fish. I'm not sure what kind it is. It looks like in the Remora family, but I'm not sure what it is. Those dangling things are pretty cool. It's very cool. Listen, I've said it over and over. There's so much about the ocean that I especially don't know, but most of us don't know. And this is one of those very unique fishes that I've never seen before.
It's called a tripod fish, but are those are not functioning legs, are they?
No. Those are modified fins. And I guess they call it a tripod because it seems to kind of isolate itself on top of them there in the bottom of the ocean or whatever body of water that it's in. I don't know if it's a freshwater fish or ocean fish, what it is. Unique looking though. Cool. Thanks for sharing it with me.
I'm ready.
All right. Chris Cody
Count me in.
is defying all of you, and it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. In the interim, let's play this next video here as we do nature videos with Ron Magill as Chris Cody multitasks with the holding of breath.
Ah, the infamous mountain gorilla. These are incredible experiences. This mountain gorilla has grabbed this woman's shirt. The key thing is you don't turn around and stare at it. Do not do that. Do not do that. I told you not to do that. Jesus Christmas. You do not turn around and look at the gorilla. You wait until the gorilla lets go on its own. You turn around and look at it. It'll get even more determined to pull you in. Now watch what happens. She turns around. I said, and then the guy had to come in. The guide had to come in to save her. You don't look at those grand primates like that. You just don't do
You're
it.
40 seconds in, Chris.
Why are they grabbing? To the best of your knowledge, what's the point of the grab?
I was just curious. Hold on one second. I am sorry. I'm still on this interview. I will be done in 2 minutes.
7 seconds
okay?
from a minute.
2 minutes.
5 seconds from a minute. He's going to get to a minute and
Easy
only
work.
a minute.
Light
Okay,
work.
perfect. Thank you so much. I'm so sorry. Okay.
He's longer than that so far.
He's longer than a minute?
I don't.
He's breathing, I think.
No, like I said, no
I
way.
think he was cheating. I think he just blew a bunch of coronavirus in her face.
I mean,
Exactly.
You did over a minute.
See that, honey?
You got over a minute.
Respectable.
What are you supposed to do when a gorilla grabs your shirt? Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Do you know what to do when a gorilla grabs your shirt? What are you supposed to do?
Don't move. You don't look at the gorilla. You just stay in the, if you're not already in it, just get in the fetal position. Do not move. Do not look at the gorilla. Do not face the gorilla.
And that's the worst thing that you can do because the gorilla wasn't going to do anything other than be playful there?
I can't tell you that the gorilla wasn't going to do anything, but when you turn and face and stare at a gorilla, that is interpreted as a threat. That's pretty much with any primate. So you should never look at a primate in the eye like that. Turn around and look at him like that because that becomes a bit of a threat.
Put it on the poll, please. Should you ever look a primate in the eye at Le Batard Show? Ron, it's nice seeing you. Thank you for tolerating all of our nonsense. I hope I get aggregated calling you a racist, and I hope your indignance is taken seriously by all media outlets. Thank you, sir.
And I hope that you send me a signed Dan Le Batard picture. And if you write to Ron, best wishes, Dan, I swear to God, I'll never do it.
I won't. I'm going to be like, I'll write it, but what I'll write is, I will not be on this racist wall unless I'm a centerpiece. I will not on the fringes of your wall where you put the other minorities segregated away from all of the beautiful segredos.
All right, buddy.
The preferred
That's the deal.
white, the preferred whites.
I'm done.
Whites
Peace
on your
out.
wall.
Thank you.
Thank
Take
you,
care.
Ron. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Nice seeing your white wall there.
Oh,
white wall.
I think I could have done better.
With Calvin Hughes on the fringes.
There was a lot of pressure on
Big
me
smile on
there.
Calvin.
I didn't get a great breath to start.
A little disappointed.
Minute 20.
We didn't even get close to 2 minutes.
I could do better.
We thought that you were breathing though at the end. We thought that there was
took
some
a little breath at the end.
No, that
Cheater.
was me
He's a
trying to like hold the breath even longer,
I
and then it
know.
just exploded out.
I know, but it is hard
What?
to do. Is it worse to explode out than it is to fracture a testicle or to what? Or what was it? What was the other word? you guys-
Rupture.
Rupture. So which is the word? The worst of the verbs is rupture. You guys are saying not fractured.
To me,
a ruptured
yes.
testicle is worse than a fractured testicle.
Feels that way.
I'm not sure it feels that way.
I feel like it feels
feeling
pretty
like,
similar.
I'm feeling like if it ruptures, it's good and it's gone and the pain's gone. Whereas it's fractured, it's throbbing and staying.
Rupture implies explosion.
Yes.
Whereas fracture just implies there's a little slit in it.
Yeah, it sounds like a break as opposed to a tear.
It sounds worse than that. A good deal worse than that. Doesn't sound like a break or a tear. It sounds like you guys are talking about either a fractured testicle or an exploding testicle.
Oh,
Because ruptured is a spot before exploding. Or are they synonyms? We're doing synonyms? It's an exploding testicle? Because I think we'd agree that an exploding testicle is worse than a ruptured testicle is worse than a fractured testicle.
I agree. I'd rather have my testicle rupture than explode.
I mean, I think so. Pull and tear are different terminologies when you're talking about muscles, but they're both essentially like different levels of a tear.
Can you pull a testicle?
I have.
Why can't you?
what? What did you say?
You heard me.
What's the worst thing to rupture? I'm all in on spleen.
You said you pulled a testicle?
Put it on the poll at Le
I
Batard
asked
Show.
if you could.
Yeah.
Is the worst
Go right
thing
ahead. No
to
one's stopping you.
Is the worst thing to rupture a spleen?
Hold my right ball.
Can you stop? Can I get you to stop? Stop doing everything that you're doing over there.
I think like there could be another lesson to be learned is like the game is to get very close and make everybody think you're going to say or do the thing, but never actually say ball. That's like the move, right?
Yeah, but subtlety's not a strength.
Sometimes you got to go with it, though.
You don't, though.
You slap them over the head with it.
Sometimes.
Again, though, getting back to the original story that birthed all of this, the fractured throat. Can you guys look up for me what difficulties there would be in playing football with a fractured throat? It sounds like a terrible thing that you would not want to re-injure. One of the things that Dominique and I were talking about during the break, I think this is a strength that Dominique has that most in our profession do not. He can crystallize for you how hard it is to get to the points of excellence where you are stronger than the man willing to play with a fractured throat. Because when we talk about what, I know we do too much with gladiators and whatnot, but for Armstead was, at the draft, the single most impressive physical offensive lineman there's ever been running and jumping. His speed at his size was not precedented in the history of the draft. He's a little undersized for an offensive lineman, but what I know about him is that no one can get around him. And the second thing I know about him is that he might not play this Sunday. And obviously he won't play this Sunday because there's no football, and he's not going to play any more Sundays because he's retired. But every week for the last 5 years of his career, it was always, that guy's not going to practice. That's a game time decision, and they need him. And if he can only do it at Sunday for 3 hours, they're going to take that body and they're going to shoot it up with whatever gets through those 3 hours. Dominique speaks better than most on the idea of what it takes to get to that kind of excellence in that sport. And when you read that article, were you surprised by what it is the pain was?
I was absolutely surprised but reminded. And I think that this is what was blowing my mind is as I kept yelling fractured throat and looking into the room, I didn't see anybody as stunned as me. I was very confused by it. I was like, no, guys, but like his throat was fractured. And yelling about Armstead not being able to walk till Wednesday or Thursday after Sunday game. And he never played a full 16-game season, and that's why. I get it, because in his third season, and he played 12 years total, his third season, he had a knee injury that inhibited him from practicing again without painkillers. And I think one of the things that I've noticed is, like, obviously there's some genetic factors that make it so, and we see every time we watch the NFL or NBA draft, there are last names that you recognize, and there are factors physically that allow people to excel in certain sports. But the mental and emotional stuff is the stuff that I think I find most interesting, because it is really, and we talked about a little bit yesterday with the emergence of those tennis pros. It's a place that you have to go to, or have the ability to go to mentally sometimes, that I don't think many of us are familiar with. And then to be even greater than the greatest, that's how you differentiate. And I think we talk about, or at least I talk about, the people who make it to professional sports. I think it's from a very small pool of people that are physically capable of doing those things. But then that's the part that I think you find interesting most, Dan, and I do too, is like, what is the difference between all of those people who want the very same thing, being able to answer every question and every test to the degree, while not only are you trying to overcome something very difficult, someone else right next to you is trying to stop you from doing it. It's amazing to me, even though I did it at one point, I guess.
Well, the thing that I find most fascinating about the sociology of sports here is, over the entirety of the world, war-torn countries in basketball, inner cities in basketball and football in America, you have fighting for status, power, respect, and money, fame, everybody who is the most competitive in the world fighting for the same pot of dollars. physically, a certain number of people can get that high. But when we're at microphones asking these people to be tougher, I'm telling you that next top 1% of top 1%, those aren't physical gifts that get people there. There are a number of people who have those physical gifts, but there's nobody at the top of that that's throwing it away. And when you guys ask those people to be tougher, I'm like, how much tougher would you like them to be? I understand why you make this assessment of Karl Anthony Towns, but do you understand that that's not just because he was born 7 feet and can shoot from 3, that's as good as that is? Like, that can't. No one gets to that level of high unless they are some semblance of tough that we don't probably understand.
But the Dolphins' offensive line is so much better when Armstead plays.
So toughen up and get out there and play. I know. I mean, Dan brought this up as an area that we should explore because he and I find it interesting. But I know y'all don't give a shit. I know you just want your games, but I do find it interesting. And to your point, Dan, I think that there's a level to make it to that's really difficult. Then there's a higher level to make it to that requires you to like push yourself past some really challenging things, which is fun. But I do recognize ultimately it's entertainment, and the way that people talk about entertainment is like the same way you would talk about a movie that someone spent years raising money for and writing and filming and acting, and they were like, I want my 90 minutes back. That movie sucked. It's the same way. It's the exact same thing. And I know that to be true, which is why it's not an area I often go down, but I do find it interesting. But I know they don't care.
No, but this is
looking
the
at
thing.
those faces.
I know it's more fun to just talk about the fighting last night and your team being better and we mentally broke them. But I'm actually interested in, and I don't think you can dissuade me of this. When Mike Ryan loves to say someone's banged up this time of year, when none of us would come to work if we felt like whatever banged up was for those guys. Clearly, Draisaitl was hurt last year, obviously. When I ask in that sport Connor McDavid to overcome 4 lines of people who want it as badly as he does, I don't think most people watching actually know what it takes. And to me, that's the most interesting part. Like, whatever the results are, those can happen with process and bounces. The most interesting part is, how did the toughest people actually get to winning beyond the luck? How did they get to be stronger than the other person who I know to also be strong? That's why I think this thing is so interesting as a view. These are heavyweights fighting, and Connor McDavid wants his immortality. He's willing to play the human limits of the body in that sport, but can only be out there half the time. And what happens when the waves come at you when you're not out there? Can he be good enough in half the time out there than all of them are in all the time they're out there? And it just makes it really hard when you're asking him to overcome that. And don't tell us about your injuries. Also, don't tell us you're hurt, because this guy played with a broken leg. Get out of here. How could you play with a broken leg in hockey? One of the most famous goals ever scored in hockey was scored on a broken leg.
But it's all relative. It's all relative, which is why I understand that the point that we're making is that these people are tougher than us and they're tougher than everybody. But in that community, there are people that are even tougher than them. And we're looking for those guys. And in order to exalt those guys, you got to point out that the other guys aren't as tough. And it's not fun to do, but you kind of, what are you going to say?
Is it true, though? Like,
it is true. It is true that there are people, there were people, I was tougher than people to get there. And then there were people who were tougher than me. I freaking saw it, Dan. There were people who were willing, I was willing to do some absurd things. In my contract year, I was in Atlanta. I got hit on a crackback block by Eddie Royal and right in the chest. I got up.
Little Eddie Royal?
Yeah. Little Eddie Royal. So,
cute little, adorable little Eddie Royal.
Think
little
about
speedster.
Yeah. Think about it.
Tiniest guy on the field.
Jay Cutler. So it was the team, it was the Broncos. The Broncos traded me before my contract year to Atlanta. We're playing against the Broncos down in Atlanta. Jay Cutler, so this is my teammates. I went to training camp with them. I played at that place for 3 years. Jay Cutler scrambles to the right and then scrambles to the left. I go to the left with him, then he comes back to the right. As I'm coming back, Eddie Royal dives through my chest. And I thanked him after the game because he didn't hit me in the head because it was legal back then. I got up from that play and started coughing and spitting out blood. And then I started to walk in the direction of the sideline because this ain't normal. And then it hit me. Nah, bruh, it's a contract year. Lined up and played the next play. And there are people who have done much more absurd things than that because I wasn't even that good.
That's so sexy. It is. It is.
Then I like grounded into the turf there.
And that was Eddie Royal that laid that hit. Like that's wild. Like,
well, when he says there are people tougher than me, this part I'll never understand, and it's not mythology. People say it's so. Ray Lewis, when he hit you, it hurt more. I don't understand that. Like, I don't understand what would have to be happening in the human body that would make him be someone who's hurting other people who know what hurt feels like more than they're usually hurting.
I'll tell you this about Ray Lewis. So I remember like being in high school and like looking around at my teammates and being like I loved them and they did the best they could, but looking around at them and being like, these guys, they ain't got it. They're not going to fight through, whatever. Then in college, there were fewer of them, but there were still guys, and I was still, like, among the top. Like, all right, yeah, they ain't got it. They don't care about this as much as I do. I get to the NFL, and there are fewer people that I recognize are like that. And I look, there's a couple people that are, like, care more than I do. I eventually finally in my 5th year, get to the Ravens, and Ed Reed and Ray Lewis specifically, is towards the end of his career. And I've told this story before, we had a pretty much nothing game on a Thursday night in Cleveland. And I showed up there like, all right, let's go out there and whoop these bums and get on with our business. And he cares more than me. We're in the tunnel, and I'm thinking about let's get this job done so we can get back home. And he's in the tunnel talking to himself with tears welling up in his eyes after already having won the Super Bowl, established himself as probably one of the best linebackers ever, a random Thursday night game. He's like, no, this means something to me. This means something to the city of Baltimore. It means something to my family. It means something to everyone. And I'm like, but what about all these millions of people who I was tougher than and I cared more than? And I'm looking at you like, I don't care. I should. I wish I did. But I don't care like you care.
Well, keep in mind, with the Florida Panthers, not only are they playing through injury, I mean, this is their 3rd Stanley Cup final. They played an extra season worth of postseason games.
Well, but see, this is the part that I really don't know what it costs when I ask Dominique or anybody, hey, the Miami Heat of LeBron blew up after 4 years. Kevin Durant, that whole thing, 4 years. Jokic, tires came off at the end, 4 years. Celtics, Tatum blows up 4 years. Like, it's hard. It's difficult at the top of stress.
You remember the Ed Reed, I'm hurt dog speech. Like that stuff is real. And to your point, on top of the physical strain and on top of the pressure on each of you, depending on each other, because all that stuff matters to your livelihood and everything that you've hoped and dreamed of, there are millions of people watching and criticizing everything you do. You can't leave. You can't walk out your house. You can't open your phone without hearing someone have something to say about what you have done. And then you go back into the locker room and you look across at these people and you want everybody to care as much as you care, but some of them don't.
Did Ray know you were just playing the Browns?
I've made a terrible error here as part of the presenting coverage for the NHL playoffs as the reigning champion team and the cover of that team. The mistake that I have made is you guys do realize that as a show, we have not celebrated nearly enough the fact that Mike Ryan is on the verge of an all-time bad take when it comes to the Panthers acquiring Brad Marchand. I always make him Marchand, even though it's Marchand, because I always want to make it a little bit extra French, which is correct, because I always make it Marchand when I see the spelling, but it's Marchand, correct?
No, it's Marchand.
It's Marchand.
People definitely say Marchand a lot. I don't know what it actually is.
Regardless.
And do you call his nickname Marshy or Marchie? Because I say Marchie.
I go Marshy.
Marshy.
Is it Marchand or is it Marchand?
Marchand.
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 Okay, we can't get agreement on this, and I'm going to need it because he's a Panthers legend. We need to get his name right.
Such a legend.
I mean, he's a legend.
Such a legend. Dan, he had the greatest individual performance. Game 2, he had the greatest individual performance in Panthers history. I'm not talking about the biggest goal, although the goal was obviously enormous. But he also had a shorty earlier in the game. In a game that, if you don't want to call it must win, fine. Have to win? Down 1-0 Have to. That was a have to win game. He had the greatest individual performance in Panthers history.
Let me play again this video of the other night because Ethan spoke for a lot of people with what he sneaks in at the back end of this when the Panthers win in double overtime. You can hear Ethan have a little message for Mike Ryan.
Oh, Marchand! Marchand! Breakaway! Panthers win! Mike Ryan, oh, 26 Eastern.
You got to sing All I Do Is Win there. Ethan, spot on.
No, you can't do that. You can't do that if you look like Ethan. You cannot say that if you are Ethan. You cannot sing that and then tell Mike Ryan to eat when Mike Ryan hired you.
I did all of that too. He said in that, I can breathe again. I said that. I sang All I Do Is Win, and I told Mike Ryan to eat. I was at a different location saying the exact same things as Ethan.
That should be a thing that when your favorite team wins, you tell people who hired you to eat.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. When your favorite team wins, should you tell the people that hired you to eat? We've got, before Zaslow gets out of here, because he's got a meteoric rise on ESPN Radio to take care of, top 5 dogs from Game 3. I know we've all been waiting for it. You could have gotten that exclusively on Zaslow 2.0, but he gives it to us. He's bringing us good stuff as an employee here throughout the hockey season of Meadowlark Media. Are you ready for top 5 dogs from Game 3? Dominique, are you ready? I don't feel like you're ready for this.
I'm ready now.
All right. Number 5 or OLI?
No, we're just going right into it. Number 5.
Okay, no foreplay, nothing.
Nope, just right into it.
Number 5.
Number 5. Top 5 dogs, also cats from last night.
Okay, dogs and cats.
Number 4, because they're cats, Dominique. They're my dogs, but they're cats. They're Panthers. Top 5 dogs. All right. Number 5.
Keep up.
Aaron Ekblad. Yes. Did you see when he put Connor McDavid on his ass?
Oh, he was like, he couldn't.
That's right. Oh, he looked like he never knew how to skate. All right. That's right.
What he looked like.
That little piece right there.
Yes.
That's classic. That's vintage Zaslow right there.
That's right.
Words, man.
Number 4, Nico Mikola.
Who's your boy?
You see at the end of the game, we're close to the end of the game there, Corey Perry's looking for somebody to fight. Nico Mikola turned, laughed, and pointed at him.
Great.
Anytime you point and laugh at somebody, laughing at somebody is super disrespectful, but pointing and laughing, that's what makes him my dog. He's number 4. Number 3, Jonah Gadjovich.
Wow, only number 3.
That's right. It's a great list today. Jonah Gadjovich. Look, Oilers didn't get the memo. They get these hands for free. 2 for 1 all day.
So the hands are for free, 2 for 1 all day.
That's right.
And all night.
Maybe they received the memo after the game.
If they're 2 for 1, they're free.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Are they free or are they
all day?
BOGO.
All you could eat.
But they're also 2 for 1.
What part are you not understanding, Tony? They're free, and it's 2 for 1, and it's all day.
Yeah. No, I got it now.
Number 2, Brad Marchand. Florida Panther legend Brad Marchand gets the scoring started less than a minute in. They were still showing the starting lineup graphics on the television screen when Marchand scored that goal to put the Cats up 1-0. Brad Marchand, that's my dog right there.
So hold on. Hold on. So we're not even at number 1 yet, but we're 2 games away from all-time bad take from Mike Ryan. Are you guys in agreement that I have not pointed this out enough or celebrated enough that he's been really wrong for 3 rounds and 2 games?
Well, he has backpedaled on he's playing well. He has acknowledged that Marshawn is playing well. At the beginning of the playoffs, he was saying he's not even good.
He said he's a bad player.
Right.
He said he wanted him to be a healthy scratch.
Now he's just leaning on I won't root for him, but he has played well. He's backtracked. He has no choice. Yeah. I mean, Marshawn has been the best player by far for us.
Well, he hasn't been the best player because that's reserved to number 1.
Tell me.
Which, of course, is my dog, Sam Bennett.
Oh, wow. How does Bob not even make this list?
Well, we're just talking about last night, all right? 14 goals in the postseason, 12 on the road, but he mixed in 1 at home last night, of course, and it capped off probably the greatest shift in Florida Panthers history, where he lays a hit on not just one guy, but another guy. He did get the memo, actually, that they can get those hands for free, 2-for-1 specials all day, and then at the end of that same shift, a breakaway where E2 Lois said, here, you take it. You don't need me. You do it on your own. And, of course, he beats Skinner, top shelf, where Mrs. Moeller keeps the peanut butter, and Sam Bennett, number 1 dog from last night.
Verhaeghe doesn't even make the list. Thank you.
Where was Seth Jones on this list?
It's not top 6, Dominique. Top 5.
If it's free, can I get 3 for 1 all day?
They don't have 3 arms.
It comes in increments of 2.
No one on that ice had 3 arms.
No one did. Why are you not understanding? 2 hands, it's 2 for 1.
There's like 8 people fighting
all day.
Okay. All day.
For free.
All night as well.
2 for 1.
Zaslow's got to go. He's got big. He's a big rising star at ESPN Radio. You just saw why, because he's got dogs that are cats, and he's got a top 5, and Bob's not even on it.
See you later, Pink Man Group.
That's a good one.
That is a good one. Pink Man Group is good.
You like that one?
Them performing in Vegas with Zaslow.
Somebody sent the other day that Rick Carlisle looks like a down on his luck retired Blue Man Group member. That Rick Carlisle has given off a lot of that. Like, tells the young Blue Manners what's what from their past.
A lot of Vegas in his past.
Yeah.
Just a lot of long nights.
Dirty early Vegas there when the Blue Man Group was coming up with all the toilet paper in the audience shtick. Rick Carlisle wrote it to great fame. I wanted to ask you guys about Jason Kidd to the Knicks. So New York has its best team in 25 years, a team with expectations. Tom Thibodeau is inarguably the best coach they've had since Pat Riley in terms of results. They keep getting 50-win seasons. They're better than they've been in 25 years. He gets fired, and the idea is bring in somebody who's not that. So Jason Kidd's not that. But when I think of Jason Kidd, I don't know how you guys regard him as a coach, but having watched the entirety of his career, where he's a college basketball player who's having trouble with drunk driving incidents, to being a great point guard that wins a championship by becoming someone who can three-point shoot, somehow, one of the few players I've ever seen go from not good shooter to good shooter, where I've seen that arc of his career, has the respect of others as a point guard, and is the player's coach who will do things in his inaugural season like get a timeout by spilling a soda on the floor on purpose and illegally and getting fined for it. But I don't think of him as a take the next step coach. I think of him as somebody that the players will like. Do I have this wrong?
No, it feels like he's a guy that will get you to the playoffs, right? He got obviously took Luka took him all the way to the NBA Finals, but it doesn't feel like he's the guy that you bring in to be like, oh, this is the guy that's going to take the ceiling off of what we're doing here and take us to the next level.
I've thought a number of times that Jason Kidd's career is over as a coach, and it's never over.
I don't think the next take you to the next level coach is always the coach that you expect. Normally those guys have jobs. So you have to have some projection, and I would argue that a point guard is the type of coach, a former point guard, is the type of coach that a team like the Knicks could use coming off of Thibodeau. Because Thibodeau, and correct me if I'm wrong, I would say the assessment of Thibodeau is he's not a great X's and O's guy. Like he's a tough, hard-nosed coach who's going to grind his guys down, but he's not going to be the guy.
I don't think of Jason Kidd as great X's and O's guy. I knows the game, but I don't know why it is that you guys would put him in the class of – look, there were 3 guys that got this coming up, okay? Point guard who might be a coach because he was cerebral. It was Derek Fisher, it was Steve Kerr, and it was Jason Kidd. It was the three of them.
Well, I don't think Steve Kerr got it. Steve Kerr was thought of as a good coach when he became a good coach, but Steve Kerr wasn't like running any team that he was on. He wasn't.
Steve Kerr was the GM with the Suns, and then him and Derek Fisher both got offers with no coaching experience of 5 years, $25 million to coach the Knicks and the Warriors. But they didn't deserve those jobs or those contracts. They were just two guys. Hey, they're really smart at basketball. Let's hire them. Jason Kidd cut the line the same way. None of them trained as coaches. They were just great as players.
Agreed. And I think that if we're going off of how great as a player someone was and the type of player that they were, I would think Jason Kidd fits that category. The only point that I'm trying to make is when you come into this conversation saying, I don't think he's a get you to the next level coach, get you to the next level coaches aren't available. I think it might be unfair for me to tell you to name the guy who's available right now to get because you haven't thought about it, but I think it's probably pretty hard. I'm going through my mind of like available coaches and trying to think who I know will get you to the next level. And to your point, there was nothing about, you said that Steve Kerr skipped the line. He obviously was a get you to the next level coach. At that time, no one thought he was.
That's the thing. Mark Jackson, you felt was the guy, the motivator. He's the preacher, the pastor that's going to get all these guys ready to go.
It felt odd to move on
get
from
this
him
guy who's a GM who was like on the broadcast, and it's like, okay, sure. Like he was around Popovich, he was around Phil Jackson, but is that going to actually seep in and osmosis turn you into a good coach? And then all of a sudden, they're dynastic and great for 10 years.
You guys aren't of the belief that there is a coach that exists, a person, anybody you choose that is making the Knicks championship worthy based on those same players that they have. Because I feel like that team got its ceiling. And it's no indictment of that team. You can get to the Final Four. You might even get to the Final Two, but not good enough to win the championship. Not unless somebody gets hurt. Not unless they just happen to be playing games and then Shai Gilgeous-Alexander gets hurt. But you tell me there's a human being that you guys think exists that he will do something with X's and O's, or she will do something, either gender, anybody on earth that will make the Knicks appreciably better with that same personnel?
Stan Van Gundy.
Can't disagree with that.
Man, those are two big failures on Stan's resume, the last two, Detroit and New Orleans, neither of which has recovered from what happened there.
Pistons got a little bit, Pistons are on their way. Quietly.
Okay, the Pistons did recover, but
quietly.
Well, this is the thing about this that is really stupid. The Pistons are just a great example. I will remind you that it wasn't but a couple of seasons ago that the highest paid coach in the NBA was Pistons coach Monty Williams, who got fired, and then the team got good. And so when we do this stuff with leadership, like, it is pretty dumb to think I think it's pretty dumb to think that I'm going to get someone who's appreciably better than Tom Thibodeau.
I don't think that's pretty dumb. I do think that, to your first point, because of their defensive deficiencies, I think it's probably unlikely that they are going to win a championship, barring any sort of like wild happenstance or stroke of luck. But I do think that the small changes can make a team appreciably better. And I don't know what those changes are because I'm not a coach, but like I think the course of a season and the course of a playoff run, the ability to develop a culture that can adapt, I think is one of the things that we're solving for in a lot of these pro sports now, is the teams that can adapt more quickly. And OKC is a team, because of their roster depth and because of the intelligence and flexibility of their players, is that they can adapt within a game from game to game. And that's the thing that we saw that the Knicks were unable to do. Even though they have some pretty flexible players, it didn't seem like they did a whole bunch. Like, their big move was to change the starting lineup when they're already down, way down in that final series. Like, they just didn't seem to have any other moves. And so I get the idea that we want to bring somebody that we think will be willing to try a move, do something, knock a couple on the court, get me a timeout. I don't know anything.
But even if you think someone's going to make them appreciably better than Thibodeau, Jason Kidd?
That's the thing. Jason Kidd's been like, he's always been attached to somebody great, right? Milwaukee, he had Giannis. In Dallas, he had Luka. He was an assistant coach who was there with LeBron. Like, you start seeing all these trends, and like, is Jalen Brunson that guy who can carry a team? He's done it. He's taken them to the Eastern Conference Finals. But is Jason Kidd the X's and O's guy? No. Is he the motivator? Sure, okay, but so was Thibodeau. And like, now where are we?
Why are we separating those things though? Like, if one can only be an X's and O's guy and one of them, that's all I got. I got no motivation in me. I can be Tony Robbins, Or I could be
X's and O's guy.
Or I could be Pete Carroll.
It's relatability, right? That's what you're looking for. When you're going for a Thibs type to a former player, it's like maybe you're looking for someone who relates to the players more. Yeah.
Is that how simplistic we're doing it?
I don't know.
I'm just when it comes to leadership, I'll get off of this in a second, but it seems like a pretty important job, and we really do seem to like the idea that some leader has an idea that other leaders don't have. We like to believe in that, and I just keep asking you. So Jason Kidd's the one we're doing it with, right? So Jason Kidd's got whatever magical elixir it is that Dominique thinks or anybody thinks will make the Knicks better than the Pacers because they have some adjustments in the margins that can be made to take advantage over a 7-game series of Pacer weaknesses.
And also, am I crazy or he's still under contract with Dallas? So, like, how is that going to turn into? Are you going to give picks? You're going to give plate? You're going to do something and make a trade for Jason Kidd when you have deficiencies on your roster and you're going to be giving them away to then get a coach?
Another Mavericks trade. Oh, boy.
What gets people excited as a Knicks? Like, I saw that Patino said hell no when asked the other day.
Yeah, but,
Jay Wright, I feel like, would have got people happy.
Right, Jay Wright already said, like, I'm retired. I don't want to do it. Those rumors and out there, like, it's not happening. But, like, man, I would have been excited for that if I was.
So those are just names, though, right? Like, I've seen the whole Patino thing. I saw it in New York. I've seen it. I know what it is.
The 90s are back, though, Dan, across the world.
I get that they're just names, and I get your point. I don't disagree with you, Dan, but that's all we got. Like, normally in an interview, there'll be a series of interviews which includes the coach then giving their vision to the ownership and the decision makers. No one's going to give us a press conference where they give us our vision. We're just going based on what we know of guys. You got a big name. We know you've had success on other, like, that's what we're basing it on.
It just seems kind of silly, though. I got an X's and O's guy or I got a motivator. That's how I'm analyzing leadership.
What if the Knicks do to the Heat what the Heat did to the Knicks a bunch of we stole Riley?
Little Spo.
They stole Spo. I mean, Dan, if you're Spo, do you say no?
No reason to stay down here.
I don't know why it is that we do this. Forgive me for ever bringing it up because I did get ensnared in recycled Jason Kidd talk. So
Spo would look good in New York.
I wish instead to detour into what it is that it felt like Dominique was trying to and successfully convincing the group of before the show. Correct me if I have the argument wrong, but you said that marriages.
Whoa.
Be careful with my boy. Happily married. Look at that wedding ring. You see any pinky rings on my boy?
Remember what Juju said yesterday in the post? We don't want to make more work for him after the show.
No. You're not gonna make any work for me. That's the thing is I'm not concerned. This is a funny little detour. So I had to tell my son that I'm not concerned. So they were flying down on a different flight from me, my wife and my 3 kids. And so my son texted me, "Hey, Dad." I was like, "What's up?" He said, "I think you got some competition." It's like, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Mom's laughing a little hard at the Uber driver's jokes." And I was like, "I'm not worried." And he said, "But his name is Luis." And he put like 10 S's on the text. And I was like, "What?"
I love that.
And he said, Luis.
How old is your son taunting you that your wife is flirting with the Uber driver?
He said, he's 12. And then he was like,
"You got to watch Luis."
He said, "Mom must be pretty because it's a shock that this Uber driver is flirting with her when she has 2 annoying kids." And I texted back, "There's 3 of you." I said annoying.
Oh, wow.
I was like, "Got me. You got me." I had to admit, like, I was a little proud of it. His little jokes make a lot of people laugh. They mostly get on my nerves. That was a solid like run of jokes. Right?
So he was very much listening to what was going on in the car.
So I told my wife about it later, and she said he had his AirPods on the whole time.
She noticed that, huh?
Yeah.
Everyone noticed Luis. And anytime you get into his Uber, which smells like cologne and feet, tell me I'm wrong.
I think if he's spitting game and trying to do his work early, right? We talk about getting in the post and doing your work early before you actually have to do any moves, right? That's the key to post game.
I think Luis has so much game that he can overcome the smell of feet and cologne in his car.
There may be other.
Are we sure this is not our Lewis? Because he wasn't here yesterday.
He does have game.
It's not Lewis. No, Lewis. There's a difference between Lewis and Luis.
I do believe I call him Luis.
Your limited fake skipper is
I do believe
so remarkably limited. and not useful.
It's got range, Dan.
It
He
doesn't
uses
have
it in a
range.
bunch of different places.
It's just never. It's always, I do believe, and then it's foghorn leghorn. It's not any. It's there's nothing to the impersonation. It stinks.
Okay, now Dan Le Batard.
It stinks.
That's how he says your name. Come on.
But he does have trouble with Latin names, so it does become Louis.
Hello, Luis.
Or Luis.
So the thing that Dan was trying to get to before I sidetracked us with the story.
It was a 2012 Washington Post article, to be clear on what the starting point of this story is.
Well, the starting point was, I don't want to put anybody's business out there, but someone was saying that they were celebrating their 4th wedding anniversary, and then that person also said out of 10. And I was like, what? You got a plan for it? But what I didn't understand was the person was saying that they've been together for 10 years, but only married for 4. So that's what got me down the track of like, it's like you got a lease. So I Googled it, and there was an article that I read in there, and then it made a compelling argument for reducing the divorce rate by having all right, we're gonna lock this in for 5 years. Let's lock this in for 5 years. We discuss it at the end of 5. Lock it in for 10. We check it out again.
So like a team option.
Contract year.
Renegotiate.
I mean, you got to sometimes.
Like you're working out. It's like, yeah, contract year. Trying to keep her.
Yeah, you got to get in shape that year.
Refinance.
Yeah, the vacations get a little bit better. You put in a little extra work in all areas.
But then you sign that deal, and then what's the next year? Are you hungry? Are you good enough, like Ray Lewis? Or are you Dominique Foxworth saying on a Thursday night in Cleveland, you know what? I don't care this much.
Oh, no, I'm crying in the tunnel on a Thursday night in Cleveland for my marriage. I ain't losing that. I gots to have it.
I don't know what the divorce rate is. Is it 50% still on the divorce rate? And the other 50% aren't going great all the time.
Do you have everybody in a terrible marriage?
What percentage of marriages are really happy?
See, this is where I was headed with this. Like, so 50% fail outright. We can't be around each other anymore. But some percentage of the next 50%, we can all agree
are also miserable.
30% are miserable.
Also failures.
I'm going 20% are happy.
I don't know what the number is.
30% are just.
I'm sorry I made it everybody, but just know that if this were an American product, we'd recall it, okay? Because it's got like a 50% failure rate and then 25%. I'm not sure it works so well over here either. So whatever the numbers are, though, Dominique is saying, let's rethink this whole thing based on a 2012 Washington Post article, and instead of making them lifetime contracts, make them leases. Make the marriage contract that you get at the courthouse renewable every 5 years.
I mean, you can pick whatever duration you want, but like I sign a lifetime deal. I'm out here
max player.
Sign a lifetime deal because I got to. That's what I needed. I already know. I got to have.
Got at a good number though.
I mean, you just made marriage a Honda.
My marriage is not a Honda. I'll tell you that much right now.
You can get a much better deal if you just commit to the long term.
Yeah.
This is your financial advice here? This is
It's sound. It's sound.
The psychology of it, though, is a little weird because I do, whenever, like, my wife and I have some disagreement, it never even crosses my mind because it's like, it's permanent. This is it. Like, it doesn't, like, if we fight, disagree, like, all right, but this is it. You better figure it out. I better figure it out.
But we're all the happy ones. Like we're that 20%, all of us here.
Happy
we're all in
as
that
shit.
20%.
So
We're happy.
Oddball, next.
We got ourselves an NBA Finals, ladies and gentlemen, because the Oklahoma City Thunder went ahead and tied it all up. It's 1-1 now as the series shifts to Indiana.
Was there fear that the Pacers would run away with it and go up 2-0 and then say, hey, the series is over?
I wouldn't say there was fear, but definitely the crowd was a lot less confident last night. Like when they were up and the Pacers make a three, you start to hear that murmur of like, wait a second, we've watched this movie again. So Izzy, one of the things people like to say is that, the success breeds copycats. And so our producers were wondering, of these two teams, the Pacers and the Thunder, which success would be easier for other teams to copycat?
That's a good question. Let's look at what these models are, right? So we've got OKC, which is very much a one-man sort of centerpiece in terms of offense, and everything flows through him. By far the best player, and again, won the MVP. So you could argue best player in the league right now with quality pieces around him, a bunch of two-way players, little freakish athlete in size there, and Chet Holmgren. The other side being the Indiana Pacers, more of a style team, right? They run, they play they play like Tyrese Halliburton, right? But it's also the coaching that helps you get there. It's also the personnel, 3-point shooters, a couple of two-way players. To me, I think the Oklahoma City one's harder to replicate because I think I'm talking about the quality of the player at the top. So you need to have MVP level guy. You need to have Kobe. You need to have SGA. You need to have, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, that type of player at the top. And then with proper coaching, with proper people around you, build that team that can operate around that one guy. That takes a lot, right? That takes chemistry. That takes right decisions on the players. The other one is very much a style situation. It is running. It is, again, not easy because Tyrese Halliburton's skill set is not similar to every other point guard out there. But I would say that's easier to replicate because you can create the style and create the pieces around him without needing that one person that's best in the league overall. Like, I know it's difficult to find a quality point guard of Halliburton's caliber, but find the best player in the league.
Let me tell you, while I hear you about SGA, the best player in the league is definitely not easy to find, right? Those guys are rare. But I think Tyrese Halliburton might be even rarer because we're talking about a pure point guard in today's NBA who is of a star caliber, not a backup, not a guy who just comes out there and facilitates, like star caliber. It's almost impossible to find because right now in our development system, if you are a smart player with handles and can shoot, guess what they're making you do? They're making you become a scorer. They're making you become SGA, who, by the way, is the starting point guard for the Oklahoma City Thunder. We don't think about that because he does lead them in scoring. And so for me, I think it's way harder. I know you're talking about the Pacers style. The Pacers style emanates from Tyrese Halliburton. The coaching that Rick Carlisle does, he's able to do it because he has Tyrese Halliburton. If he had a different point guard, I guarantee we wouldn't see Rick be as laissez-faire with the situation. And so to me, it's so rare to find a guy like Halliburton who's legitimately elite and desirous of playmaking. But if he needs to score, if he needs to shoot, he's really good at that too. In many ways, like, there's always an SGA in the league.
Yeah,
right?
I guess that's where I could lean your way, is that I could replicate the style of play that Indiana does with the right pieces, but not at this level, right? Not at this caliber to get me to the finals. There's been a lot of good run and gun teams that are fun to watch, but yeah, you're saying to get that to this level, you need Tyrese Halliburton, and that's harder to find because there's more SGA. I'll give you that. I will say that the formula seems like it's been done before more with the way that the Thunder have done it. I just find it hard to replicate because you, again, still have to have the best player in the league.
They're both really hard to replicate. Like, let's make it clear. Like, oh yeah, why don't we just do that? Well, there's reasons, like, because you don't have SGA and you don't have Tyrese Halliburton. I guess my thing is the basketball factory that is youth basketball, college basketball, and even early NBA basketball puts guys like that in that mold. Oh, you're good? You're gonna be like SGA. We're gonna feed you like SGA. I'm not saying you're gonna be as good as, but that's the model in which we start to craft your game from a very young age. And like I used to say this about Steve Nash years and years ago. When you think about the great passers, right? Even if you go to NBA history, like the great pass first guys that made plays for others, most of them weren't good shooters to start with, right? It's almost an evolution thing, right? Why are you such a good passer? Because I didn't like shooting because I wasn't good at it. So I do all of this, right? Like Magic Johnson wasn't a great shooter, right? But we love doing all this.
But when they back off of you, you've got no choice but to learn how to shoot.
Sure, exactly. Jason Kidd is another one, right? Like, they might get to the place because they're great players and they develop into that. But the essence of like a 10-year-old Magic Johnson, a 12-year-old Jason Kidd was, yeah, I'm doing this because I can't do this. Steve was always a great shooter who chose to pass, which is weird because like, if you're such a great shooter, why don't you just keep shooting? as a 50, 40, 90 guy, why are you averaging only 16 to 18 points? But the other part of it is, it's like, oh, I need to shoot. Okay, I'll do it. And like when the necessity comes, and then how do you guard that guy, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's Halliburton closer. And guys like that, like I said, few and far between. Most of the guys, if you're a good shooter, you're going to be encouraged to shoot the ball a ton of times.
I will say that like Tyrese Halliburton is an easier guy, not necessarily to replicate, but to wrap your mind around, oh, okay, that's a team that you could say was led by a similar leader. You just mentioned the Phoenix Suns there. The one that's interesting to me, SGA, like I get what he is, right? In terms of head of the snake, leader for a team, scorer as from the guard position. But like how he got there and, you know, whether we can see that coming again for somebody else, I don't think we can, because the dude, you know, was number 11 in the draft, fell that far, was traded after his rookie season. That's probably the one where you're just like, wait a second, most of these guys who are MVP are not traded after their rookie season. But I don't know if this is a question of how we find the next SGA, or do we sort of try to figure out what this SGA really is? Because in my mind, I very much point to the 2006 finals with Dwayne Wade, where in his third year, everybody saw this guy coming out of no, oh, wow, this guy's great. With SGA, a little bit different, but it's also like, I don't know, we didn't expect it. And so now that we're seeing it, we're sort of wrapping our minds around what it could be.
Well, I got to give credit to the Clippers, because the day that, like, right when they did that Paul George trade, they were telling everybody, man, we would have given up 10 more picks just to keep SGA. Like, so they knew he was special. Did they know he was this special? Maybe not, but they knew for sure he was someone, like, they had no qualms. They gave up a boatload of draft picks that the Thunder are still feasting off of. And they literally lost no sleep over that. But they lost sleep over losing SGA.
Wasn't it Patrick Beverley who says that he told him when he was in the Clippers practice, like, you can be Kobe good, like you're that level of good, and maybe that's where the Clippers are just like, hey, maybe he's right.
That story is according to whom?
According to Patrick Beverley.
Oh,
I think SGA has confirmed it though.
Yeah, that's like when LeBron said, I turned on the TV and I saw Kobe warming up, and I said, oh, he's about to have like 80 today.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, if SGA confirms it, I believe him, but.
He's a nice guy. He's a nice Canadian boy. It's the polite thing to do, right? Speaking of the polite thing to do, the polite thing to do is to acknowledge that he scored more points in the first two games of the finals debut than the one and only Allen Iverson, who had 48 in his debut. So one would think he had a huge early lead on that. And so we got to ask this, Izzy, who would you take, SGA, or let's start with 01 Iverson?
I think they call this like an elevator series, right? So if you open up the elevator and it's like, oh, Dwayne Wade's there. Do I go with him, or do I take the guy I'm standing with, SGA, right?
Yeah, let's start with Iverson. Look, because that's the guy he just passed.
All right, definitely taking SGA. I think what, you know, obviously size factors in. He's a better defender, probably a more efficient scorer. And yeah, I think it's just a new evolution of today's game. No knock on Iverson. I'll just take SGA.
Counterpoint. SGA didn't step over someone's carcass. So.
Yes. If you want the all-time highlight, yeah, you got Iverson.
All right. So everyone, just so you know, I know where Izzy's weak points are. It's like jiu-jitsu. SGA or 06 Dwayne Wade?
Ooh, man. Look, I'll be 100% honest. In terms of knowing how you're going to get it, where you're going to get it, start the possession, I know this dude's good. It's SGA over Dwayne Wade. Like, it is, right?
Wow.
Look, Dwayne led the league in scoring one time, but it wasn't really what he wanted or needed to do. Like, SGA, it's just part of what he does. Like, he's going to give you 35, and there's really nothing you can do about it. And in today's game, like, I think it's just, now, Dwayne will give you other stuff. He'll block more shots. He'll probably get more steals defensively, maybe a couple of pick sixes that SGA didn't. But in terms of, like, affecting winning, I think they're both right there. So maybe it's prisoner of the moment, but I'm taking Kerr and SGA.
Okay, man. I didn't have Izzy in my bingo card.
I was flexible like that.
No, absolutely not. All right, let's take it up a notch. What about 2000 Kobe?
Ooh, Froby.
So that's Kobe against the Pacers in the finals. Kobe to Shaq, alley-oop against the Blazers in the conference finals.
This is going to sound crazy. Going to sound crazy.
Come on.
What the hell does SGA look like with Shaq?
Woo! Look, I'll tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why. I think Kobe was a more talented player. He was certainly a more explosive athlete, right, at that moment. But the maturity, I think SGA got a lot more maturity here, man. Now, obviously, he's
also
older.
like, look, here's the main thing. I don't know what his numbers would be, but I know if SGA was playing with Shaq, Shaq wouldn't be mother effing that dude like the way he did Kobe.
Right.
So I'm going to stay with Shaq. I'm going to stay with SGA over Froby.
Let's go. One more. How about Michael Jordan, 1991, for his first finals trip?
This is where I might be stepping off the elevator. I think you've got Depoy level MJ and, 1-2 dribble pull up and just, I think I have to get off the elevator here.
A spectacular move. A spectacular move by Michael Jordan.
Yes.
All right. Well, last one. Steph Curry, 2015.
I mean, I'm already off the elevator, but I'll jump out the window for Steph Curry. I think I'm going to take him and that whole universe he creates just with his skill set.
This is what I'll tell people, like, or especially people who are like, oh, he didn't play well in 2015. He put Delhi in the hospital.
For real. Like, he is everything.
He hospitalized the man. Yeah. So all right. So there it is.
I'm shocked that you, me, and Michael Jordan are now on a 3-way date?
We're just in an elevator. What are you talking about?
All right. Just hanging out in an elevator.
How did Matt Ryan save your life? Dominique is eating. Hold on, Juju. This is a little bit rude, but Dominique just informed me he's got a very good metabolism and he needs to eat every 3 hours or he gets very hangry.
Obnoxious.
And so why did you just say, as Juju came into the screen with his Matt Ryan jersey, that Matt Ryan saved your life?
Because I got traded to the Falcons in Matt Ryan's rookie year. And they just got rid of, things were really bad in Atlanta. And so in my contract year, it's very important that you play well and play for a good team so you can get paid. And so I get traded. I'm like distraught when I get traded to the Falcons, assuming they're going to be bad and I'm going to have a bad year for my contract year. That's when I first started thinking about business school because I was like, yeah, I'm not going to like be a journeyman who never really hits it big. Then I get down there and I don't play in the first game because I get down there the week of the first game. And Matt throws a touchdown pass on his very first pass. And then we go on to have a really good season. And part of having a good season, I obviously play well also. And you're on a good team, you make the playoffs, people pay those people money. So Matt Ryan, I mean, I was being hyperbolic. Like,
no, it was pretty good. He made you a lot of money. Juju, why are you wearing, beyond always repping Atlanta, why are you wearing the Matt Ryan gear today? Any particular reason?
Nah, just keeping it fresh, you know what I mean? Fresh and funky, as they say. And I just happened to land on the Matt Ryan jersey today. You feel me? Salute to Matty Ice.
Zaz is now gone, but can we put that picture up again, please, for Juju to enjoy the picture of Zaslow telling everybody on Earth and America and any continent where hockey is played that is the way that you play hockey. What commentary do you have for us on Zaslow making America great again there?
I wanted to say, when Dominique said beluga-esque, the scream that came out of my living room.
Same. The esque.
Bruh.
So good.
The esque. Also, Timbo Slice from YouTube says, light bulb head ass.
Yeah, it does look like a light bulb.
Damn.
It
does. Do look like he's a good idea.
It's not just that it looks like a light bulb, also the color of certain light bulbs as well, I would say, a bit translucent.
His pointer finger, the same exact shape as his head.
That is indeed how it is that you play hockey. What else do you have in the way of commentary on today's meanderings, Juju?
Also, I want to point out that the Tony betting streak still lives on.
You're welcome.
He told you yesterday, when he bets against a team, them boys capitalize. And my boy took one for the team yet again yesterday.
Parlayed that with a little Leon Draisaitl goal. Guess who didn't score, buddy? LD.
Whoa. That was against the spread, though.
Yeah, well, what Juju is saying is that if just pick against Tony, that Tony gets it totally wrong, so just don't take
It's
what
sacrificial, Dan. That's what you're missing. That's the
he took
point.
Edmonton with a goal and a half, and obviously they could have gotten many goals and a half and still not covered. Yes, that's right.
Also, we didn't discuss the greatest catch possibly in MLB history yesterday from Denzel Clark from the A's. Oh my goodness. When I saw that, I was like, okay, I had to pause the hockey game and mosey on over there to the A's game of all games. I was like, yeah, bro, salute to Denzel Clark.
One can only mosey over to an A's game. That's the only way you can go to an A's
That's
game.
the only way to get over there. That's some 10:05 Eastern television.
That's something you have on, Dan.
They got the
Nobody
Angels
darts
last
over
night.
to an A's game. You're never darting over to an A's game.
But I am often betting against the A's. I have been for 2 seasons, so I'm aware that they didn't play very well against the Angels. But I have not seen the highlights.
Seen the catch?
I have not seen the catch yet. Please describe it for me, because that's not a highlight I've seen yet today.
Athleticism.
Right.
He climbs up the wall and just like reaches like across his whole body. Very impressive.
All right, think of Wesley Snipes in the Charlie Sheen movie. I forgot
Major
the name
League.
of it. Major League.
There was it Wesley Snipes? No, wait a minute. In a second Major League movie, the character that I believe the
Omar
Asian
Epps.
character, no, the Asian character, not Omar Epps, ended up catching a ball while standing on the left field fence.
Yes, I remember that.
It wasn't climbing over the fence. It was just standing on the left field wall.
Let's all stare at Dan while he watches this.
I just showed him the video because
Holy
he had,
shit.
he had to see it.
Appropriate response,
He
Dan.
spun on the top of the wall.
Incredible. I assume we can't show it
No, we
for
can't.
whatever reason, so we're watching it on our phone, and it's damn impressive.
That is crazy
How you
athleticism.
Waste that athleticism in baseball. Man.
There can't be very much. That's got to feel.
Guaranteed contract there.
That has to feel better than hitting a home run, right? Robbing a home run where you're climbing and the upper half of your body is all the way over the fence has to feel. And you're the only one who knows that you have the ball. You're the only one in the park who knows.
Yeah, work on that back pedal, Denzel.
Right. Speaking of backpedaling, working on your backpedaling, DeMarcus Cousins yesterday had the crowd. I don't know if that's Puerto Rico. He had them boys backpedaling. He almost had the Palace with the Pacers, whatever that was called. Malice at the Palace was almost again part 2. DeMarcus Cousins against the entire crowd yesterday. Luckily, that brother got out of there safe. And the fans.
I don't think that I think Juju, I would take that the other way. An army of people are coming after DeMarcus Cousins. I got DeMarcus Cousins. I'm going to worry about the fans there more than I'm going to worry about DeMarcus Cousins. I don't think anybody wants those particular problems.
It was in the Puerto Rican League. He plays for the Mets at Guaynabo.
Okay, how bad is that video, though? Is he still playing that guy from the Puerto Rican national team, Ortiz, who's like 47 years old with gel in his hair? Do you know who I'm talking about? Who's in that Puerto Rican league? Carlos Arroyo?
There's a bunch of good players in the Puerto Rican League, Dan.
What happened?
Hassan Whiteside's out there.
What DeMarcus Cousins, we're in agreement that that people should be afraid if they're trying to fight DeMarcus Cousins. That will not go well for people.
Yeah, it started courtside with a heckling fan, which, in my opinion, like, fan, what are you doing? Do you know who you're heckling? Have you not seen the tapes? But he started there, got kicked out of the game, and then the whole way to the locker room, fans were throwing stuff at him, so he was trying to retaliate. He slipped and fell through the grace of God, because if he would have been let loose, I don't know, we would have been having a whole different conversation about this. This might have led the show today.
Seems like the wrong person to disrespect.
Yeah.
Who's the right person to disrespect?
Well, not him. Not him. There, I don't know who you would select. Not Eddie Royal.
No.
I select David Sampson. That's the right person to disrespect, because we forgot too. Remember about a month ago, Carlos Alcaraz was like, I chose happiness over massive success because happiness is success. And David Sampson came over, what a loser behavior. He's never going to be anything. And he gave us one of the most entertaining best matches ever on Sunday against a winner, the number one person in the world, which I would argue that happiness inside of him probably had him able to go through the different modes of, man, you know what, I'm finna lock in, man. And then he was pumping the crowd up while he was going. I feel like that happiness is very important. So yeah, David Sampson, another one.
Does it make you a little sad that the Mets are 9-18 and Boogie's there on that team, 9-18?
Yeah.
In the Puerto Rican League?
Yeah.
The Mets.
Let's
I pictured him playing baseball now. That was a funny visual.
Excellent work by you, Chris.
It's like on the mound with a baseball hat.
He is the Khaled of bad takes, though.
That one is a good one to remind people of because that was something we were talking about a couple of months ago. I meant to do this earlier. You wanted to talk, Dominique, and we didn't have anybody here who had seen any of the BET Awards because evidently Dominique didn't watch hockey last night because he was and he faked his way through the show today because he was actually watching the BET Awards instead.
I mean, y'all, I felt like the universe was testing me. I watched a little bit of hockey.
He's trying to give the show range. He knew that we would have the hockey covered, so he's like, I'll cover this.
No. I was like, if the world ended right now, I don't want it to end with the BET Awards on TV and me watching hockey. I just couldn't have it. So,
luckily, God bless me. I got a little 3 TV set up, so I had the BET Awards on the second guy. You feel me?
What about sound? Where was the sound in the BET Awards?
Oh, the sound was in Sunrise. You best please believe.
That's Shutdown City. Let's go.
See red.
All right. Right, and I do agree with you, Dominique. I don't know how or when. Maybe I don't know his backstory, but Teddy Swims being invited to the cookout, that's above my pay grade, I guess.
I was stunned. I mean, that one song, whoa, that thing goes. However,
lose control.
Yeah, I'm gonna need you to do a little bit more. I did a little research. Like I believe his wife, she down with us. However. I'm going to need you to do a little bit more. I thought we learned our lesson in the past. You can't just come on over here, man. Like, it's a high
You know
ball.
what it means, Tony. You know what it means, Tony.
By association.
I'm locked in on Los Vaqueros de Bayamon, who JaVale McGee is the center. Really? And Danilo Gallinari is the forward.
You can find some
Ronaldo
names
Balkman
in there.
is still playing.
Yes, that is a good perusal
good,
through the internet.
Good team.
That is a good use of your internet time.
21-7, by the way.
And Stevie Wonder also admitted last night that he had watched the film on his tribute video. So it better be good. Salute to Stevie, man.
He used the verb watched.
He said he watched it. And he watched the edit, so it better be good. Also, shock of the year last night, Glorilla. Who would have thought this is a real sentence that I'm saying? Glorilla did a tap dance number and won the BET Award for Best Gospel Song.
What?
Yep.
That is a real thing that happened last night. Salute the Glow.
I mean, this in collaboration with Kirk Franklin. Stomp.
Right.
Dan, would you like to know where Montrezl Harrell is?
No.
Los Gigantes de Carolina.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
6th man of the year, Montrezl Harrell.
It'll be a fun All-Star game to watch.
I also learned that Glorilla's middle name, because this was one of the bits that Kevin Hart, who was hosting, was doing, was calling out people's full government name. Middle name, Hallelujah.
Nice.
Gloria Hallelujah Woods.
Oh, that's fire. She should name an album
great
that.
middle name.
Gospel. You see? Like, it seems a little less ridiculous now when you know her middle name. Hallelujah.
Word.
Right. And Mr. 106 in part reminded us to keep respect on his name. That's Lil Bow Wow last night. Even though he performed like you with Sierra in the crowd, hoping and praying that she didn't get the invite on stage. Because she done moved on to bigger and better things.
I guess she didn't want to perform. I was surprised. I was like, she's right there. Is there some beef that I didn't know about?
Put it on the poll, please. Is Hallelujah a great middle name at Le Batard Show? I don't believe we will do better in these polls than the question, did they not boo the guy roller skating to Lou Rawls because he marched during the civil rights movement? But we'll see. We'll find out together. Roy, you still have a stat of the day, correct? We were supposed to get to a stat of the day a little bit earlier. So before we get to the polls, can we do the stat of the day that we were supposed to get to?
Start of the day, it is your start of the day. Start of the day, it is your start of the day. Start of the day, it is your start of the day. Start of the day, it is your start of the day.
Stat of the day is presented by Miller Lite. At 37 years old, Brad Marchand is the oldest player to score in the first 3 games of the Stanley Cup Final. He is also the first player in NHL history to score in a Stanley Cup Final overtime, and also score the first goal of the very next game.
Eat shit, Mike.
It's going to be an all-time bad take. It's going to be he's going to win like final MVP.
Conn Smythe?
Sorry. I didn't do that correctly.
That you're okay. Dan,
No,
where can you see a pick and roll of Brandon Knight and Jahlil Okafor, Dan? Los Capitanes del Recibo.
Thank you, Tony.
That's where.
Roy, we got like a 3-man race right now for Conn Smythe, right? It'd be Bob, Marshawn, and Bennett, right?
Yeah. Well, maybe not Bob because the first 2 games of the series.
He had 86 saves the first 2 games, I think,
Yeah,
combined.
but they allowed 9 goals.
Yeah, maybe a distant third on that one, but yeah, he's up there.
How many bad goals, though?
The polls, please, Juju. What do we have today?
What's worse, a fractured throat or a fractured testicle? 68% of the audience says a fractured testicle. Damn. Ouch. Did you know that you could fracture your throat? 76% of the audience says, no, they did not know that. Neither did I. Is gazpacho a soup?
It's big.
67% of the audience says, yes, it is.
Wow.
It's got to
Right.
be warm. It's not, it can't be cold. It can't be a soup and cold.
Refreshing.
Right. I think we got the audience right here in this window. The next poll, does a soup have to be warm? 59% of the audience says, yes, it does. What are we doing, audience?
Inconsistent people on the internet. I never thought
Plain
that
bowl
would
shark.
be.
Better soup, lobster bisque or clam chowder?
Chowder.
57% of the audience says lobster bisque.
Talk about chowder. What's the matter with you?
Lobster bisque is just like, give me some crab. Give me some lobster in there. It's all just like, a broth.
Speaking of crustaceans, where can you see a front line of Kenneth Fareed, Jared Sullinger, and Hassan Whiteside? Lo Cangrejero.
Kenneth Fareed, the man of
Lo Cangrejero de Santurce, Dan.
Should gazpacho be kicked out of the soup family? 65% of the audience says yes, it should.
These are inconsistent polls. They're all contradictory.
Right.
They said it is a soup, but it should be kicked out.
Okay.
So
They don't
no,
like
that's
that
not
soup.
contradictory. The contradictory one is
You
that
nailed
they
it.
said soup should be hot. I
It's
got it.
bullshit.
Got there. I got a little
Can't
it's a little stumble on contradictory, but I got there.
can't sit here, gazpacho.
Yeah.
In New York, do you have to shove? 89% of the audience says yes, you do. Did the guy on roller skates not get booed because he was a part of the civil rights movement?
Guy on roller skates listed to Lou Rawls. It's an important.
I forgot that part.
It's an important detail.
Still, 58% of the audience says yes.
That's a good day of polls.
Right. Do we have to make sure that Shoney's never dies? 64% of the audience says yes, we do.
1% for every location.
Right. Salute to Danny. Are you ever getting Tom Cruise on your podcast? 90% of the audience says no. I don't know. Keep your eyes glued to the Pete and Sebastian show. No
Just
plugging
having
here.
fun, man.
Is there such a thing as a beautiful, fast, casual seafood restaurant?
Big.
68% of the audience says no, there is not.
Captain D's.
Fun fact, I worked at a Captain D's in high school. Stole a lot of hush puppies in my day. I was just saying.
Yeah.
You got to steal the hush puppies if you're working at Captain D's. Everybody's doing that.
Quality was so
Did you
low.
know?
Like, nah, I'm taking hush puppies only. Y'all can keep this suspicious shrimp.
That's fine.
Right.
Pay me in hush puppies.
Did you know that an octopus could take out a shark? 54% of the audience says, yes, they did know that. Okay. Look at the big brain on the audience.
You knew
Zaslow
everything
brain.
about the octopi. Congratulations.
I think it's
Right.
pussies.
And last poll, do you know what to do when a gorilla grabs your shirt? 91% of the audience says, no, they do not. And those are your polls.
I'm pretty sure it's octopi.
Nah, it's pussies. Look it up. People like to say pie because it's funny, but it's pussies.
It's definitely not fishes, what Ron Magill said earlier. Salute to Ron Magill.